Finally, the answer was right in front of him. The old man was hiding the fact that he was at the legendary rank, and that he had been sharing his astral powers with the golden dragon. That was why the golden dragon had been able to demonstrate unusual powers. Legendary rank. So what? Suaping was not scared. Rather, he was quite eager to teach the old man a lesson. Not caring about the prizes? Wanting nothing but to kill him? If so, Suaping decided that he would also have to kill the old man regardless of the rules. A battle that started with hatred shall end with death. What makes you think you can do it? The old man of the Qin family turned livid with rage when Suaping said those words. Senior Yan, who was about to step in and stop the fight, was taken aback. Why is this guy not giving up after finding out that he was fighting against a legendary battle pet warrior? The onlookers stared in disbelief. They came to understand why Suaping was so arrogant before. Compared with the other titled battle pet warriors, he had every right to act that way. But this is a legendary battle pet warrior. The difference between the legendary rank and the titled rank was even larger than that between beasts of the 9th rank and beast kings. The legendary battle pet warrior's astral powers were 10 times richer than those of a titled battle pet warrior. With one though, a legendary battle pet warrior would be able to lock down the void and kill a titled battle pet warrior directly. That was a fact. Lunatic. Master Mo could not help but comment. It never occurred to God of Earth and God of Blood that Suaping would be so stubborn as to not give up when facing a legendary battle pet warrior. Even those two were only qualified to run errands for the legendary battle pet warriors. You won't leave here breathing. The old man of the Qin family glared at Suaping sharply. Humiliating a legendary battle pet warrior was reason enough to cut Suaping into pieces. Boom! His whole momentum suddenly soared. Since he had shown his legendary rank strength, he wasn't planning to hide it anymore. The astral powers accumulated in his body for many years were now released to their fullest, sweeping across the stadium like tides in the ocean. Even those who were sitting close to the seal were able to feel as if they were carrying a huge mountain on their shoulders. A legendary battle pet warrior. The sovereign descended to the world. The Qin ancestor's white hair danced in the wind and his face was as smooth as jade. He put one hand behind his back and pinched at Suaping across space. Go to hell! He uttered the words in a gloomy tone. The astral powers were converging in the void. The old man was robbing and controlling all the astral powers in the air, creating surges that pressed against each other, making a muffled noise. Being such the case, a titled battle pet warrior would no longer be able to draw astral powers from the exterior and would no longer be able to fly across space. However, Suaping was just eyeing the old man with disdain. Boom! The astral powers were making a crackling sound as the old man pressed them together. Suaping's hair was stirred up, but he wasn't affected at all. The onlookers had been stunned after seeing that the virtual dragon had fended off the old man's strike. The virtual dragon had been able to stop the golden dragon and the bloody servant. But it was outrageous to find that it could even stop the old man who was at the legendary rank. What kind of skill is that? The ancestor was startled to see that his effort was futile. It was completely against his expectation, the virtual image was too sturdy. Energy synchronization. All of his battle pets, including the demon stone toad, were sharing their energy with the old man of the Qin family. The energy from all those battle pets of the 9th rank and his beast king were gathering inside him. His strength was increasing. He was approaching the breakthrough he desired. Break, he said. Crack. A crack appeared on the virtual dragon shield. Realizing it was working, the old man of the Qin family exerted even more strength. He was grimacing due to the effort. Bang! The virtual dragon shield exploded. The moment that the almost unbreakable shield was destroyed, the old man teleported from the spot without any hesitation. Whoosh! The old man reached Suaping and stared down at the latter like a god of war. Continue your resentment in hell, the old man said coldly. He punched at Suaping. The disdain in Suaping's eyes became more obvious. The moment the old man's fist was about to land on his face, roar! Suddenly, a figure jumped at the old man from the side, yelling furiously. The old man dodged and stood up in the air, only to see that the dragon hound he had punched to the ground was standing in front of Suaping. That was fast. This pet, the old man was greatly shaken. The pet was so fast that even he had been caught off guard. Too fast. The pet had not displayed its full strength when it was fighting the demon stone toad. Horrific. The old man was thrilled. The pet was not a beast king and yet it could defeat the demon stone toad. There must be some secret about the pet. Now that I won't have the luck to get the prizes, make it up for me with this battle pet of yours. The old man was seized with his urge to kill Suaping. He teleported to a spot behind Suaping. Without wasting any second talking, he punched at Suaping's head. Bang! A shield appeared and resisted the punch. Again, the virtual dragon. Don't worry about me. Just attack. Suaping said to his dog. He had the artifact that the old Dragon King had given him. That legendary battle pet warrior was not at the void state. He would never be able to kill Suaping. The old man was livid with rage after seeing his strike being rendered ineffective again. That defensive mechanism turned out to be more troublesome than he had expected. Damn you! The old man teleported back to where the demon stone toad was. He had used his legendary power and was still unable to subdue Suaping. He didn't look good at the moment. The onlookers could barely keep their mouths shut. Suaping was not losing in a fight against a legendary battle pet warrior. This battle was quite an eye-opener. There was nothing about the pet that indicated it was a beast king and yet it was even more terrifying than a real beast king. The old man took a deep breath and clenched his fist. He never thought that he would have to exert his full strength just to battle a titled warrior. What a shame! The rage and hatred in his mind did not blur his judgment, though. He decided his next move at once. Merge. Merging with their battle pets was a unique skill exclusive to legendary battle pet warriors. The person would become one with the battle pet. It wasn't a simple addition. The person could grow several times more powerful. That was where the legendary battle pet warriors truly excelled in. That was the actual difference between the legendary and the titled ranks. Moo! The injured demon stone toad suddenly let out a noise like a cow mooing. Following that, it turned into a pool of liquid. It covered up the old man with a dark glow. Suaping raised his eyebrows as he watched the merging. He had thought that the old man was going to summon another battle pet. But judging by the looks of it, the demon stone toad was his only beast king. That was it. Suaping looked at the dark dragon hound. He made up his mind after a moment of hesitation. In no case shall he belittle his enemy. He was ready to undo the dog's seal. Undoing one of the seals. When the old Dragon King finished passing on its legacy, it cast 9 seals on the dog in case the dog would develop too quickly that Suaping would no longer be able to control it. With the first seal undone, the dog could climb to the 8th rank. Removing the second seal could send the dog to the 9th rank. It would become a beast king after the 3rd seal was undone. Given the fact that Suaping was unable to sign a pet contract with a beast king yet, the 3rd seal could not be removed yet. He could only remove the first 2 at best. But Suaping decided to undo just one because he felt that it should be enough. After all, with 2 seals removed, the dog would get to the 9th rank, and training it would turn out to be quite hard. He would only consider removing the second one if the first one didn't do the trick later. Break! A golden glow flickered in his eyes. An ancient and intricate golden image flashed on his forehead. As it passed down through the contract, his power broke the first of the 9 seals that were inside the dark dragon hound. Phew! A strand of immense power was spread out from the dark dragon hound. Something that had been locked up was being unleashed. The dark dragon hound trembled and raised its cry into the air. Freedom! It had never felt so free before. Endless energy was surging and flowing inside its body. It was climbing up the ranks. Soon, it reached the 8th rank. The peak of the 8th rank. As the seal was removed, apart from the increase in strength, more memory fragments were added to the Dark Dragon Hound's mind, including other inherent skills of the heavenly expansion dragons. The onlookers couldn't understand why the Dark Dragon Hound was becoming even more intimidating than before. No one could have foreseen that the pet was hiding its strength even deeper than the old man from the Qin family. In the meantime, the dark mist that had enveloped the old man was gradually dispersed, revealing a man that was almost 3 meters tall. But the old man looked nothing like before. He was not only taller, but stronger. There were dark dots on his face and neck. His smooth, white hair had turned into a dark hook that stood behind his head. There were some bumps under his chin, which was a feature of the demon stone toad. The two were merged and their strength had been combined. A hellish feeling was radiating from the old man. His eyes had turned purple and that look in his eyes spoke of nothing but ferocity. Kill! The old man paid no heed to the Dark Dragon Hound's surge in power. With a whoosh, the old man appeared right behind Suaping. He punched at Suaping once again. Bang! The virtual dragon broke. The fist went past the remains of the virtual dragon, and was about to land on Suaping's face. But right then, the old man heard an angry roar. The Dark Dragon Hound, which had taken the shape of a dragon, appeared all of a sudden. The Dark Dragon Hound built up a shield in front of Suaping. At the same time, it menacingly opened its dragon mouth at the old man. The old man turned his purple eyes. He stared at the Dark Dragon Hound, void of emotion. Next, with a dash, the old man turned over his hand while standing below the fierce maw. There was a sword in his palm. He wielded the sharp blade. With a puff, blood spilled out from the Dark Dragon Hound's face. The dragon scales broke and the many shields were unable to protect it from the injury. While the Dark Dragon Hound was good at various sorts of defensive skills, they were all merely of the 9th rank. But they would be practically useless when the enemy was a legendary battle pet warrior. Suaping frowned. Was removing one seal not enough? He was ready to remove another one. Right then, the Dark Dragon Hound began to shake its head and pant. Its body was swelling up and its eyes reddened. The cut on its face was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. There were some bolts of lightning flashing around the Dark Dragon Hound. People sensed that even the air was freezing. A magnificent vigor burst free from the hound and a gust of wind was blowing away the dirt and rubble. Senior Yan felt extreme trepidation. The Dark Dragon Hound looked up and glued its eyes on the old man of the Qin family who was frowning at the moment. Inherent skill Dragon Thunder. Roar! The Dark Dragon Hound opened its mouth. The air began to explode in front of the hound. A twisted whirlpool appeared. In the meantime, that terrifying sound wave mixed with countless bolts of lightning instantly swept across the area. People seemed to be able to see many virtual images of the Heaven Expansion dragons. That was an inherent skill that only adult Heaven Expansion dragons were able to master. Startled, the old man of the Qin family built up a seal. He turned his wrist, and a lotus-shaped sword glow appeared in front of him. However, the astral shields were as fragile as glass. They broke in an instant and the marvelous lotus vanished at the same time. The sound wave blasted over, reaching the seal behind the old man and making a noise similar to a bell ringing. That noise echoed across the stadium and even went past the bounds of the venue. The transparent armored glass at the ceiling broke. The cracks on the walls expanded and stones began to fall from the roof in certain places. As he hovered inside the seal, Senior Yan coughed out blood and his ears were bleeding as well. That was not a simple roar. It was a pure sonic wave attack. Even though Senior Yan was not the target of the strike, he was hurt nonetheless. His head felt heavy and about to split. Next to the stage, all the titled battle pet warriors were covering up their heads. Still, their heads were buzzing. The soundproofing seal was unable to stop the sound wave from piercing into their minds. They hurried to check the situation on the stage after they felt better. They had never been in more shock in their whole lives. The dark dragon hound was still standing there. But across the stage, the demon stone toad, which had merged with the old man, had re-emerged and fallen by the seal. On the torn belly of the demon stone toad lied the old man of the Qin family. His robe had been blasted away and he was practically naked. His skin was cracked, a lot of places were bleeding. His white hair was gone and that was odd. Did he lose? How creepy that was! The old man, one at the legendary rank, merged with his battle pet, a beast king no less, and he lost. Astonishing! Shocking! People felt they had lost the ability to talk. With one roar, the old man failed and the merging was dispelled. Standing like dead with mouth agape, some were looking at the other side of the stage. Sui Ping was standing there, calmly. He had not moved an inch since the battle started. There wasn't a single speck of dust on him. He never did anything. His battle pet had defeated the old man of the Qin family on its own. For a long, long time, there was a deathly stillness. No one said anything. No one cheered. They were trembling even while breathing. Amid the silence, the old man of the Qin family was still lying on the torn belly of the demon stone toad, unmoving. It seemed that he had passed out. Blood covered his face. People weren't even sure if he was still alive. "Sir, no," some people shouted in sorrow and indignation. They were the titled battle pet warriors of the Qin family. They had realized that their ancestor must have lost because he had been unable to stand up again after such a long time. They were afraid, confused, and above all, anxious. That old man was the foundation of the Qin family. How could he fall? How could he lose? On the stage, Sui Ping could tell that the old man was still breathing. He had just passed out. What the dark dragon hound did was beyond his expectation. He had not been affected by that roar, but it did surprise him. If he were the target, and he was without any secret artifact to protect him, he believed he would have been reduced into a skeleton, without any flesh or skin left. That skill was fatal. That was a skill that the dark dragon hound had just picked up. The dark dragon hound had morphed back from the dragon shape. It must have exhausted its energy. But, the battle had reached its end. Sui Ping didn't think anyone would come and challenge him after that. It had no longer been a regular battle. Sui Ping glared at the old man. Bolts of lightning appeared under his feet. In an instant, he had flashed to where the demon stone toad was. The tilted battle pet warriors were startled. They shouted in panic, "What are you doing? He lost. Open up the seal, now." The killing intent on Sui Ping's face surprised Senior Yan as well. Fighting back the lingering pain in his mind, he shouted at once, "Mr. Su, please no. He is at the legendary rank." Sui Ping just kept his eyes on the unconscious old man. So what? This is the Supremacy League. He broke the rules by taking parry while being a legendary battle pet warrior. This is no longer part of the official competition. This is my private matter. My rule is to deal with killing with killing. With that said, Sui Ping lifted his hand. "Wait," someone else shouted. That voice was low, but it could be heard all across the stadium. The window of a private room in the distance was broken. From the room flew out a strong, middle-aged man with dark eyebrows and sharp eyes. It was quite a masculine man. He reached the seal and said to Sui Ping, "Stay your hand in mercy, please." The onlookers focused on the man. Some titled battle pet warriors were so stunned to see this man that they lost their voices. Legend North King. North King. A man from the Bei family of the Sky Base city that reached the legendary rank 200 years ago. All the titled battle pet warriors stood up in shock. That was a legendary battle pet warrior that had dropped off from the grid a long time before. They could not believe that he was still very much alive. He was standing right in front of them. The other battle pet warriors were just as stunned. With their heads still buzzing, they were still unable to process the information. They would rarely see one legendary battle pet warrior, but there were two this day. Also, the North King was quite well known as a senior legendary battle pet warrior. The two legendary battle pet warriors still active at the subcontinent district were considered inferior to him. Sui Ping turned around. Another legendary battle pet warrior? Even so, Sui Ping did not stop. He pushed down his hand. Astral powers burst out from his palm. Bang! The Qin ancestor's body was blasted open. The shields had already been broken by the Dark Dragon Hound's attack. He was just shouldering that punch with his physical body. Without any surprise, he was smashed into pieces. The remains fell onto the belly of the demon stone toad. Sui Ping had raised up an astral shield to fend off the blood. He dispelled the astral shield after the blood settled. You! The North King could not believe it. He pulled a long face. The titled battle pet warriors sitting next to the stage were freaked out. Did Sui Ping just ignore the North King? Also, did a legendary battle pet warrior just pass away like that? What a tragic death! He didn't even leave a whole body behind. Venerable the Blade was deeply frightened. He knew that Sui Ping was in great trouble. The North King was someone even more intimidating than that Yuan Tianchen. North King was an important member of the sitting next to him was his friend God of Earth who was in a complete daze. Before that killing move, Sui Ping had already struck them as wild enough. But it turned out that they still knew too little about his craziness. As he hovered in the air, Senior Yan was still shocked by disbelief, even if he was staring at the remains of the Qin family's ancestor. Not even God could save him. He was very much dead. A legendary battle pet warrior died. That was a piece of news big enough to shock a continent. The silence deepened even further than before in the stadium. Everyone could feel the temperature dropping. Have you any idea what you've just done? Furious, the North King scolded Sui Ping. The fact that he had been just disgraced didn't matter. What mattered was that the man had just killed a legendary battle pet warrior. That was a loss for the human race. Sui Ping eyed the North King calmly. I just killed a man that tried to kill me. The North King was foaming at the mouth. He was there under orders, to lure out the legendary battle pet warriors in hiding, the ones that hid the fact that they were at the legendary rank just to evade their responsibilities. The old man from the Qin family was one of them. That old coot had been disguising himself as a titled battle pet warrior just so that he didn't have to serve at the deep caves. Finally, they had found a way to lure out a legendary battle pet warrior, but he had been killed by Sui Ping. What a worthless death! If you would have spared his life, he could have guarded the deep caves for 50 years to protect the human race living in the subcontinent district. Do you even know what this means? By killing him, you have practically stolen 50 years of peace. The North King glared at Sui Ping. He was finding it very hard to control his anger. Sui Ping didn't care about that. How many beasts can he kill in 50 years? I will kill twice as many when I become a legendary battle pet warrior. He tried to kill me today, so I killed him. I'm not trying to insult you. Anyone who dares to speak of humiliation is humiliating me. No one could save a man that had threatened to kill him just using the excuse of saving face. No one. No matter how thick one's face was. The onlookers had lost the ability to think. What were this man's guts even made of, to have the courage to adopt such a tough tone when talking to the North King? Bold was not enough to describe the man. The North King's face was clouded. He didn't think Sui Ping was lying. He was already able to kill a legendary battle pet warrior while being at the titled rank. Both his pet and him had great potential. Once Sui Ping became a legendary battle pet warrior, he would generate more value than the old man of the Qin family who was just trying to avoid serving and prolong his sorry life. But to reach the legendary rank was a complicated thing. Sui Ping was outstanding, but he would have to be lucky to reach the legendary rank. It was possible that Sui Ping could end up stuck at the titled rank, never able to reach the legendary rank. The North King had gone on this mission because the tower was short-staffed. They were in dire need of legendary battle pet warriors, which was why they had come up with a way to lure them out. Say Suaping was indeed able to become a legendary battle pet warrior. Who could tell when that would be? Everything would be too late. The North King did not know what to say to that unyielding man. To kill Suaping right there? That would be a greater loss for humankind. With such great potential, once Suaping became a legendary battle pet warrior, he would be of great help to the human race. He might even be better than the North King. You are so powerful already, but you have not made a name yet. Who is your teacher? The North King decided to shift the topic. The man from the Qin family had died and no amount of arguments could bring him back to life. He felt vexed since Suaping had embarrassed him, but there wasn't anything that he could do about it. He was a bigger man. But he was sorry about the loss of a legendary battle pet warrior for nothing. Suaping couldn't say it was the system. The North King's face was even more clouded. I'm not in the mood to hold you accountable for what you did, but please don't treat me like a fool. Who could have become like this while being self-taught? The titled battle pet warriors next to the stage, to their dismay, noticed that the North King had dropped the previous topic. That was quite the real world they were living in. A dead legendary battle pet warrior would no longer be a legendary battle pet warrior. But they couldn't just drop the matter. The remains were still warm. North King, you must avenge us. He had just reached the legendary rank recently and wanted to get the Beast King before he went to serve at the deep caves. This punk took advantage of his perilous state and killed a vulnerable man, the titled battle pet warriors from the Qin family shouted in sorrow. The other titled battle pet warriors were not happy to hear this. The North King sneered with a frown. Recently? Lies. He was not one to be fooled. The old man didn't just reach the legendary rank. He had reached the rank at least more than 100 years before. The North King ignored them. The indifference on Suaping's face gave him a headache. He had to admit that Suaping was gifted and a terrifying genius, one of a kind. However, he was not a social person, nor easygoing. I'll wait for you there. Come to find me when you get your things sorted out here. The North King pointed to the private room from which he had smashed out of and flew back. The titled battle pet warriors of the Qin family could not believe that the North King had flown away before punishing Suaping. The other titled battle pet warriors had worked out some sort of theory. The prizes of the competition and the appearance of the North King all added up to some sort of plot. There had to be something more complicated going on. People had heard some rumors about the deep caves. The backstory had become abundantly clear. The world is descending into chaos. Some titled battle pet warriors thought. They were the first ones to know, so they had to hurry back to their families to be prepared for the incoming war. After the North King left, Suaping cast another look at the place where the titled battle pet warriors were gathered. Anyone wanting to challenge me next? They were speechless. Who would dare to when you've already killed a legendary battle pet warrior? In the course of history, barely any titled battle pet warrior had been able to kill a legendary one. The ones able to attain this achievement had a common name, Fate Challengers. Reversing the rules of nature. It had been 100 years since a king of backspin appeared in the world. Suaping, without a doubt, was the one in the current age. All the titled battle pet warriors avoided making eye contact with Suaping. When he cast his eyes on the family head of the Lin family, the latter looked away. He clenched his fingers and loosened them. He looked around and waited for a while. No one was coming. He said to Senior Yan, "It seems that I'm the champion and I don't think anyone is having any problems with that. If so, give me the prizes. I'm in a hurry." The titled battle pet warriors produced a forced smile. Indeed, they did not have a problem with that. One man killed a legendary battle pet warrior. One man that had renounced the world splendidly. Everyone was engraving the young man's look and voice in their minds. The Tang family. Tang Ruya was in a trance. Her target, her goal, everything, had already been achieved by that young man. If she had such a strength, the Tang family would already have a way to annex the other three ancient families. It had been such a long time since they had a fate challenger. Not even some of the other famous titled battle pet warriors, such as Venerable the Blade, had earned that honor. It was several hundred years in the past when the world welcomed its last fate challenger. Back then, that fate challenger had been the most prominent titled battle pet warrior. Soon after, he reached the legendary rank. However, he died an unfortunate death when he was serving at the deep caves. That had been a sad day for humankind. I am announcing the winner of this year's Supremacy League. That is you, Fate Challenger Su. Senior Yan was very respectful when he talked to Su Ping. He also looked around as he announced the results. The titled battle pet warriors didn't seem very pleased with that result, but no one opposed it. No one dared to confront the fate challenger. There was no objection. Senior Yan said to Su Ping, "Fate challenger Su, I am sorry about before. Please forgive me. You are the champion. The Free Trade Organization will present you with the prizes. Beast King and the legendary skill book are still being delivered and it will be a couple of days before they can arrive. Please understand, sir, that we usually don't proclaim the champion on the first day." So, Senior Yan looked at Su Ping gingerly. The way he spoke to Su Ping was completely different from before. For always, fate challengers were more perspicuous than the other titled battle pet warriors. The former was viewed as a group warriors but stood out from those at the titled rank. Even some legendary battle pet warriors would treat fate challengers with respect. After all, once fate challengers grew to be legendary battle pet warriors themselves, they would be the most formidable. "It's okay," Su Ping answered. For starters, he wasn't that interested in the Beast King and the stone now. "You can have the other two items delivered to my residence. I don't have time to come back here again." Senior Yan was glad that Su Ping didn't have a problem with that. All of a sudden, Senior Yan realized this heartless fate challenger Su was not a difficult person to interact with as they were having a normal conversation. "Yes, of course. We will give you the talent stone right away. Please have a seat and wait for a moment," Senior Yan said with a smile. Su Ping nodded. He remembered that North King told him to go and find him. He had to go given the fact that the North King was a legendary battle pet warrior. Su Ping kept his dark dragon hound and the inferno dragon, then he flew over. The titled battle pet warriors gazed as Su Ping left for North King's private room. Inside the private room. Whoosh! The North King shook his head and heaved a sigh when Su Ping came in. After Su Ping landed, the North King cast a seal so that no one could see or hear them. "Fate Challenger Su, do you know why the prizes are different this year?" The North King heaved another sigh. Su Ping raised his eyebrows. From the previous conversation and the appearance of that legendary battle pet warrior from the Qin family, Su Ping had already thought up a legendary battle pet warriors in hiding, right? The North King produced a forced smile. "Do you know why we are doing that? Is it about the deep caves?" "Indeed." The North King sighed again. "Recently, the beasts in the deep caves are getting agitated. Some legendary battle pet warriors serving there have passed away. We are in dire need of more people on board. I placed a bait and finally we lured one out, yet he ended up being killed by you. I am really pissed right now." Su Ping didn't seem to be bothered. But the North King was being a bit narrow-minded, to be still obsessed about that. "Since you have already lost several legendary battle pet warriors at the deep caves, what is one less to the tally? Besides, that one wasn't so strong, to begin with. He wouldn't be of much use to you," Su Ping pointed out. The North King smiled a bitter smile. Indeed, that old man of the Qin family was not outstanding among legendary battle pet warriors and he merely had one Beast King. But that was because he had been trying to hide himself, not daring to come out and search for Beast Kings. He couldn't communicate with other legendary battle pet warriors, either. He just worked behind closed doors. Legendary Battle Pet Warrior, we would have given him more Beast Kings and provided him with some skill books for free after he joined the tower. Soon, he would have been even better than he was today, at least progress by 2 times. By then, he would have contributed to the deep caves. Oh! North King, what do you mean by oh? Oh means I heard you, Sua Ping said, but what does it have to do with me? Whether he could serve at the deep caves and the fact that things. So you're saying I should have forgiven him just because he could guard the deep caves? I've already told you that I'll kill twice as many beasts as he could have when I become a legendary battle pet warrior so I can compensate for your loss. The North King's face turned ashen. I fully understand that you have such abilities. I can even say that you're just as good as an average legendary battle pet warrior already, and you are qualified to serve at the deep caves given your strength. We would have recruited you already if it weren't for the rules. But rules are rules. You're a promising young man, but you also, I suspect there are more hidden legendary battle pet warriors here. However, because of you, the old man from the Qin family simply could not sit still. You other legendary battle pet warriors must have lost their courage to come out. My trip here a wild goose chase. Do you have any idea what kind of emergency we are in right now? You are sabotaging our mission. Sua Ping didn't comment on it because he didn't think he had done anything wrong. Your plan is your plan. I didn't know anything about it. It's not like I was doing anything on purpose. The Supremacy League was established to pick out the champion below the legendary rank. For one thing, my rank is not over the limit, and for another, my fight was not against any rules. I killed a legendary battle pet warrior, sure, but his participation was against the rules. My fight with him shouldn't be counted as part of the Supremacy League. No matter how you look at it, you cannot accuse me of any wrongdoing. The only fault you can find with me is the bad coincidence. I might have worked with you if you had told me hometown is currently under attack by a beast wave. If you're willing to have the tower dispatch a legendary battle pet warrior to help us out, I'm willing to sit here quietly and go through the entire process of the competition, Sua Ping added. The North King was so furious he had been rendered speechless. He was aware that his luck wasn't in on that day. He couldn't have anticipated the appearance of someone like Sua Ping. Theoretically speaking, a titled battle pet warrior like Sua Ping should have become famous worldwide, and yet he had never heard of such a man. That had been the first time he had heard of the name and met the person. The tower doesn't have many legendary battle pet warriors. We don't have a spare hand to support your hometown. The North King shook his head. Guarding the deep caves is the most important thing, or else all of human society will be doomed together. Sua Ping pulled a long face. I'm not a great man and I don't care about human society. Will go back and save my hometown. Since the people in my hometown cannot count on any legendary battle pet warriors, I will protect them. The North King gazed at Sua Ping for a moment. Eventually, he shook his head. You're still at the titled rank, so I don't want to reveal too many things to you. Good luck. You will have to shoulder the responsibility of protecting the entire human society when you reach the legendary rank one day. I won't waste any more of your time now that your hometown is the average Beast Kings. I won't alert the tower for that. Sua Ping sneered with disdain. I don't know if there is anything that I'll have to do. For me, what I must do is protect my close ones and take care of my parents. I am grateful to them. That is what I must, have to, and will do. As for anything else, there's nothing else I'm obliged to do. The North King eyed Sua Ping coldly, but eventually gave up. He waved his hand, opened the seal, and told Sua Ping to go. Sua Ping was the wrong audience. They could not understand each other. Talking to him was a pure waste of time. Also, he was aware that few people would be concerned about the fate of the whole world. Take that old man of the Qin family as an example. He had already reached the legendary battle pet warrior rank. He could have joined the tower where he would have better treatment, and he would join a team where people could support each other. He could have progressed. Still, just because he was afraid of serving at the deep caves, he chose to prolong his sorry life. He had felt better off staying as a vulnerable, insignificant legendary battle pet warrior. As far as the North King could tell, Suaping was just like that. However, he couldn't have forced Suaping to do anything since he had not reached the legendary rank yet. It was true that Suaping was no weaker than a legendary battle pet warrior, but the fact remained that he was not one. It would be against the rules if he were to shoulder responsibilities meant for legendary battle pet warriors. Otherwise, even the titled battle pet warriors would hide their strengths in the future. It was a silly move to destroy future potential. Besides, they had not reached a point where people under the legendary rank should go and help guard the deep caves. Of course, at that end. He's too young after all. North King frowned. But that was the only comment he could come up with. He knew what it felt like when one had to take care of both parents and relatives. Albeit that feeling had become so faint he had almost forgotten about it. His parents had passed away. In this world, he no longer had a family. For the old legendary battle pet warriors, mankind was their only family. Back to the stage. Senior Yan darted a glance at the private room, only to see that the North King was frowning, which was a scary sight for him. He didn't know what the conversation entailed, but it had clearly not been a pleasant one. The titled battle pet warriors gazed at Suaping curiously, wondering what he had talked about. Fate Challenger Su, this is the talent stone. Senior Yan went over and handed a black wooden box to Suaping. Suaping opened it. There was a greyish rock inside, as big as an infant's fist with a faint hue surrounding it. Talent stone. Suaping closed the box. He told himself that Senior Yan wouldn't have tricked him at this point. After all, the talent stone was a prize for every year. He could ask any past champion and he would know if the one he got was real. Okay. Since he finally had the talent stone, he could not postpone his return any longer. What Qin Shuhei had said filled him with anxiety. Come over here. Crocodile threw the slave contract. A dozen blocks away, in the lake, the huge shadow hiding under the water suddenly opened its eyes. That was a pair of eyes that could instill pure dread. The next second, the tranquil waters suddenly arched its surface as a beast broke free. The swamp war crocodile had sensed the calling of its master, it turned in that direction. The beast got out of the water, forming a massive stone bridge underneath its feet. The bridge lifted the crocodile into the air, carrying it across the lake and the streets. The arched bridge in the sky was casting a large shadow onto the ground. The battle pet warriors that were wandering on the streets saw the shadow. Out of curiosity, speechless. Inside the stadium, Suaping held the talent stone and stood on the stage quietly. Senior Yan stood next to him, reverent and respectful. He was just wondering why Suaping had not left yet. He remembered Suaping said he was in a hurry. Why would he merely stand there, absent-minded? The onlookers were wondering that as well. It seemed that Suaping was waiting for something. All of a sudden, people heard a loud noise and something horrifying was approaching. That thing was not hiding its energy at all. In the private room, the North King was still upset about his plan having been sabotaged. Suddenly, he felt something. He looked up to the sky through the shattered glass ceiling. Of a behemoth was approaching, riding on a stone bridge. Fate Challenger Su, Senior Yan worked up the courage and tried to ask Suaping. Right then, Senior Yan heard a noise that was like an airplane taking off right next to his ears. Surprised, Senior Yan turned over. The titled battle pet warriors next to the stage turned to look as well. The ceiling of the stadium had already been broken. A huge shadow was cast inside. The overwhelming energy crashed what had remained of the ceiling. Amid everyone's gazes, that behemoth landed on the stage at the center of the stadium. The stadium shook as if an earthquake had hit. Those seated in the chairs were thrown upward. The cracked walls of the stadium could no longer stand another strike. They broke like eggshells and tons of rubble were falling. Luckily, most people at the stadium were battle pet warriors. They built up astral shields so that the falling stones would not hurt them. Dust stirred up and blurred people's vision. By the stage, the titled battle pet warriors had also built up astral shields. Some with quicker reactions had unleashed astral powers to blow away the dust. As the dust settled, the behemoth showed itself, which astounded everyone speechless. There was a beast that took up half of the stage crawling on the ground. It was as if the beast had been cast of molten iron, full of domineering power, and exuding a reckless breath. Beast King! That was a Beast King! For a moment, people were unsure if their eyes were playing tricks on them because Suaping, who had been standing on the stage for a while without moving, was at the moment standing on the head of the Beast King. The Beast King was Suaping's ride? How inconceivable! Some titled battle pet warriors were lucky enough to have a Beast King for themselves, but their Beast Kings were nothing like this one. If Suaping's Beast King was a wild one, then their Beast Kings were domesticated. The ones with Beast King pets could more directly sense the violence of the creature standing on the stage. Inside the private room, the North King was also taken aback. This Beast King! His heart skipped a beat. Being a legendary battle pet warrior, he also had Beast King pets and he had encountered many Beast Kings. As such, he understood Beast Kings better than not the usual kind, and it seemed that this Beast King was not from the blue planet. Even he felt a bit suffocated. That guy! He didn't use the Beast King in the battle. If he had, that old man of the Qin family would have probably been eaten up, North King exclaimed to himself. He was surprised to find that Suaping had not demonstrated his full strength yet. He had a Beast King waiting outside. The North King didn't know if Suaping had tamed the Beast King himself or if someone had helped him capture it. Either way, it made I cannot believe we have ignored such a horrifying guy. There must be a legendary. The intelligence guys at the tower should review their recent work, the North King said to himself. On the stage. The stage had caved in as the swamp war crocodile came down from the sky. The walls collapsed. People could even see the streets and buildings outside. Suaping didn't care how stunned people were. He shouted to where the titled battle pet warriors were gathered. Brother Qin, aren't you coming back with me? Qin Shuhei was in a complete daze. He knew that Suaping had ridden a Beast King to get there, but he could have never foreseen that his Beast King would make such a stunning debut, falling from the sky. He had thought that Suaping was riding on the Dragon Hound, which was as good as a Beast King. Suaping's words startled Qin Shuhei. He was choked up with emotions as he felt the gazes landing on him. How thrilling this was! Coming, he shouted at once. He immediately flew up to the stage. He was hovering in the air above the Beast King's head. While looking into that fierce pair of eyes, Qin Shuhei was afraid to land. Come here, Suaping said. Qin Shuhei took a deep breath and summoned up the courage to approach Suaping. The swamp war crocodile moaned and shook its head unhappily when Qin Shuhei's feet landed. Move it, Suaping said. Rumble. The ground shook as a stone pillar emerged, raising the swamp war crocodile into the sky. The stone pillar extended horizontally above people's heads as it protruded outside the venue. In an instant, the swamp war crocodile, as well as Suaping and Qin Shuhei, had vanished into the horizon. Left behind them was the stone pillar inside the stadium. The stadium was in a complete mess. The onlookers eyed each other in speechless astonishment. The Supremacy League had ended in such a dramatic way. The championship was taken away. Who would be in the mood to fight for second place? Whoosh! The stone bridge built by the swamp war crocodile went past half of the Aurora base city to the outer wall of the base city. The titled battle pet warriors guarding the place were frightened by the stone bridge, as well as the swamp war crocodile on it. Two of them flew up to find out what was going on. Suaping noticed that they were the ones who had guided him when he arrived. Guys, please step away. I'm in a hurry. This is still inside the Aurora base city. It is not quite proper, one of the two quickly said. Riding a beast king meant that Suaping was not one to be messed with. However, the Aurora base city was under the management of the Free Trade Organization, and the organization's supporter was the Tower. A titled battle pet warrior could not be allowed to behave atrociously inside the base city. Piss off! Suaping shouted angrily. When he first arrived in the base city, he didn't want the swamp war crocodile to stomp the streets and affect the residents, so he had let trying to leave by staying high in the air. How could they stop him at this moment? He was no longer in the mood to care about city rules. That titled battle pet warrior was about to say something when the swamp war beast roared at him. They were all standing in the air. That roar was like a sudden clap of thunder. Both titled battle pet warriors trembled. The one who was standing right in front of the swamp war crocodile's face began to bleed from the nose. The stone bridge extended further out. Frightened, the two knew better than to stop Suaping by then. They allowed him to leave, riding on the Beast King. The two looked at the place where the stone bridge started. That was the location of the stadium. Wasn't North King there? Why would he allow this? With a bang, the swamp war crocodile landed on the ground outside the city wall. The swamp war crocodile made off at once. Building a stone wall that went across half a base city had used up much of the swamp war crocodile's energy. The ground was making a loud noise. Frightened, scared, and happy all at once, Qin Shuhei used astral powers so that he wouldn't fall from the Beast King. With Suaping, he to ask for help. Suaping alone could take care of the Beast King that invaded the Longjiang base city. When that happened, the other beasts would flee helter-skelter. Longjiang base city. The highway outside the base city was already in ruins, and the footprints of some beasts could be seen everywhere. The fortresses built outside the base city were also empty at the moment. There were some human corpses and blood inside. Right then, there were some beasts gathered at the become their rally points. Standing on top of the outer wall of the base city was an unprecedented number of warriors. All the warriors in the barracks had already been mobilized to the wall. Some spare watchtowers and long-range sniper turrets that were covered in dust were charged with energy and officially activated. The entire Longjiang base city had entered a level 1 emergency state. Those damned beasts are retreating again. On the outer wall, a general was using binoculars to monitor the situation outside, only to see that there were a lot of beast corpses remaining on the wasteland outside the wall, while the rest of the beasts had retreated, as if planned. The situation in the north is fine. How's the east? The general reported and asked about the situation. There was a rustle of noise in the intercom, and a moment later an anxious voice said, "The east needs reinforcements, and we need titled battle pet warriors, arg." Before he finished speaking, he suddenly screamed. The general heard a sudden high-pitched scream, his face changed, and he couldn't help turning his head and looking east. His troops and manpower there were limited, and he could only request reinforcements from the rear. He couldn't have moved manpower to support the east. On the off chance that the beasts that had just retreated returned, they would also be doomed. On the east. Boom! Boom! The flames of war raged across the land. A series of long-range sniper cannons quickly received energy, and then bullets were launched, one by one. Low-altitude missiles were discharged as well, flying toward the base city's exterior. Flames soared, lifting many beasts to the sky. Outside the base city was a huge crowd of beasts of various kinds. Most of the beasts were of the middle or advanced ranks with few low-rank beasts mixed in. Among them, there were also some beasts with huge tank-like physiques, and the missiles that were shot at them were blocked by a series of skills the beasts unleashed, detonating in the air. Damn, not enough firepower. Standing on the outer wall were also some powerful humans, including Xiejin Shui, who was also a titled battle pet warrior. Standing next to him was Qin Dehuang, who was wearing a grave expression. Zhou Tianlin was also standing side by side with Qin Dehuang, gazing at the wild beasts with complicated feelings. "Let me go and deal with some of the tough." Dehuang gazed far into the distance. A behemoth was faintly seen in the horizon. That was a beast king that they had detected, the leader of the beast strike. The fortunate thing was that the beast king had not involved itself. At the moment, it was only commanding the beasts to gather. If the Duhuang wasn't even sure what they could do to stop it. Qin, have your battle pet go. I have reason to suspect that the Beast King is very intelligent and is observing us. I'm afraid it will sneak up on you if it sees you go down there, Xiejin Shui cautioned Qin Duhuang. While that sounded outrageous, Xiejin Shui did make a valid point. Many Beast Kings were very intelligent, almost as smart as humans, and could speak various languages. Beast Kings were not only capable of brutal behavior. They were scheming creatures that could use tricks. A Beast King sneaking up on titled battle pet warriors was something that humans despised, but that was the best tactic used by Beast Kings. Sneak attacks were among the easiest methods that could lead to success. That was the most effective way from a Beast King perspective. Okay. Qin Duhuang nodded. Indeed, he could not afford to make irresponsible acts. The Qin family needed him. Soon, several swirls appeared. His battle pets crawled out, including the fierce fire ape that he had just purchased from Suoping's store. Roar! As soon as the ape came out, Qin Duhuang instructed it to charge into the hordes of beasts. The other battle pets at the peak of the 9th rank also shouted and charged forth. They bulldozed away a bunch of beasts at once. Zhou Tianlin didn't just stand around and watch. He summoned his battle pets as well. The wild beasts' advance was impeded as their battle pets joined in the fight, several paths were cleared up. While the battle pets participated, the battle pet warriors present could focus on other areas. Man, that ape is brutal. Even Qin Duhuang was a bit surprised to see how the ape fought. That was the first time he had used that battle familiarize himself with the battle pet after he bought it from Suoping's store. He didn't know the battle pet was so barbaric. It also seemed that its energy would never exhaust. Carrying burning flames, the fierce fire ape dashed around madly, smashing away everything in its way. I wonder if Mr. Su would regret selling the battle pet to me if he knew how horrifying the ape is, Qin Duhuang asked himself. He was gloating he had bought that battle pet at the peak of the 9th rank for 60 million astral coins. That was a godsend. Zhou Tianlin was a bit scared by the ferocious fierce fire ape. He wished he had moved across the street from Suoping earlier. Although feeling sorry, Zhou Tianlin didn't get distracted for long. He focused his mind on his battle pet in case they would fall into a siege. His battle pets would be at a disadvantage if they fell under a group attack. Most of the wild beasts present were of the middle and advanced ranks. The beast's skills could yield stronger effects if they had similar properties, which could even hurt beasts of the 9th rank. Roar! Roar! The fierce fire ape and Qin Duhuang's other battle pets had advanced a long distance. Xiejin Shui, who was amazed by the fierce fire ape, suddenly noticed that the beasts were splitting up. He realized something terrifying was afoot. Qin, get your battle pets back right now, he shouted in alarm. Qin Duhuang was still gloating about the fierce fire ape when he heard Xiejin Shui's words. He took a look. Immediately after, he ordered his pets to stop and retreat. That beast king in the distance had disappeared. All of a sudden, under the feet of a 9th rank dragon, the group split up and from a crack reached out a bloody mouth. Bang! That mouth bit the dragon, which was screaming in misery. Qin Duhuang's eyes reddened. He immediately shared his astral powers with the dragon. Qin Duhuang heard a noise before the sharing started. The dragon was crying, half of its body was gone. Qin Duhuang turned pale from fright. He ordered the fierce fire ape to come back with the upper half of the dragon right away. The fierce fire ape reacted quickly, it glared at the strange mouth on the ground. Even though the mouth belonged to a beast king, the ape was not intimidated. The ape made a jump to fetch the dragon, it grabbed its wings, and then hurled it toward the city. Qin Duhuang jumped up. With the help of his other battle pets, he managed to catch the dragon, which was barely breathing. Hang in there. I will get you fixed right away. Qin Duhuang almost burst into tears. The dragon had been with him for half of his life. He used astral powers to stop the bleeding and before he brought the dragon back inside the wall's protection. As soon as they landed on the wall, Qin Duhuang remembered that the fierce fire ape was still out there. He quickly looked over, only to see that the fierce fire ape was running wildly. Behind him, that mouth had snuck up from the ground. With several strange appendages, the mouth was chasing the ape. Run, run! Qin Duhuang ordered at once while he shared his astral powers with the fierce fire ape. Roar! The fierce fire ape bellowed and the flames were burning even more brightly. The ape was running quickly, like a meteorite falling from the sky. The beasts that made moves to stop the fierce fire ape were burnt to ashes by the flames. Whoosh! All of a sudden, some vine-like limbs grew from the beast king, which entangled the fierce fire ape. The limbs were completely unafraid of the scorching flames surrounding the ape. The ape was finally restrained. The fierce fire ape shouted and tried to tear off the vines but it wasn't strong enough. Qin Duhuang was quaking. He wanted to run out there but Xiejin Shui stopped him. Qin, calm down. It's just a pet. Qin Duhuang's eyes turned red. A pet? No, not just a pet. Right then, the ground began to shake. A noise came from behind the wild beasts and it was getting louder and louder. At the same time, Xiejin Shui's phone rang. He recognized the number, it was from the another beast king was coming to the base city from the east side. Bang! Bang! The noise was getting louder and louder. Xiejin Shui and Zhou Tianlin gazed into the distance. Their sight only allowed them to see a blur coming from afar. That blur was getting clearer and clearer. Qin Duhuang's phone rang. Qin Duhuang convinced himself of moving his eyes away from the fierce fire ape to look at his phone. The call was from Qin Shuhei. Qin Duhuang poured in more astral powers to further aid the fierce fire ape break free and answered the call at the same time. We're almost there. Where are you? Qin Shuhei shouted. Qin Duhuang moved his lips. He tried to talk suddenly. Zhou Tianlin shouted, look! He pointed at the blur that was approaching. The blur was close enough for him to see. He recognized the Beast King. It was the one that Suiping was riding when he left. It's Suiping! Suiping is back! Zhou Tianlin almost wanted to hop around with joy. That guy is back! They no longer had to fear the Beast Kings. No. Startled by Zhou Tianlin, Qin Duhuang looked at that thing. He could not believe that the man he knew was back. That behemoth pushed the wild beasts away. The ones that didn't step to the sides in time were all stomped. Two people were standing on the behemoth. Qin Duhuang was able to see their faces as they got closer and closer. It was Suiping and Qin Shuhei. They came together. Qin Duhuang felt a lump in his throat. Roar! The sonorous roar echoed in the wild. Beast King! Suiping also noticed the Beast King as he stood on top of the swamp war crocodile's head. He became livid with rage when he saw that the Beast King was hunting the fierce fire ape he had just sold. To the death! Behind him, 3 swirls appeared. Roar! The Inferno Dragon was the first to come out. It landed and flames were swept across the area. The dragon had sensed Suiping's anger. With red eyes, the Inferno Dragon threw itself into the crowd of beasts. It clawed left and right, burning all the beasts with its powerful flames. In the meantime, the Dark Dragon Hound and the Purple Python had come out as well. They roared and dashed toward the wild beasts. They were like wolves charging into a flock of sheep. Suiping rode the swamp war crocodile toward the Beast King. That Beast King had also sensed the ferocity from the swamp war crocodile. The Beast King tried to roar at the swamp war crocodile but the latter was not intimidated at all. If anything, the swamp war crocodile was enraged even further. The swamp war crocodile pounded the ground and many sharp stone spikes that were over 100 meters tall grew out from the ground. It was as if the earth were showing its fangs. The Beast King bellowed and smashed the ground. One section of the ground was lifted. The wall came crashing down onto the huge spikes. Both the wall and the spikes instantly fell into pieces. The broken boulders rolled around, inflicting great harm on the flock of beasts. A battle between beast kings could shake the world. Roar! The swamp war crocodile felt its dignity had been challenged. Blood rushed to its eyes. The swamp war crocodile sped up. The ground was shaking due to the fast speed. Many deep pits appeared as the swamp war crocodile moved around. The crocodile reached the strange Beast King in an instant. Beast King against Beast King. That Beast King's bizarre, large, and fierce-looking mouth opened wide. Its limbs extended toward the swamp war crocodile. At the same time, the Beast King was directing several of its limbs to smash the swamp war crocodile's eyes. And yet, as if in a frenzy, the swamp war crocodile paid no heed and threw itself onto the Beast King. Bang! The Beast King rolled away. While the rare Beast King tried to tear up the swamp war crocodile with its claws, it was completely unhurt given its hard skin. There were merely some light marks left on its skin. Let's go! The moment that the Beast Kings bumped into each other, Sua Ping carried Qin Shuhei in one hand and flew up. The two Beast Kings were in a round of close-quarter combat while Sua Ping soared in the air. The swamp war crocodile reacted quickly. It bit at the other Beast King's head, its sharp teeth tore off pieces of the Beast King's skin and scales. Blood was gushing out. Crocodile Tangle. PFF. The massive crocodile rolled around with quick speed and agility, then twisted its neck and managed to tear off half of that Beast King's head. Roar! That Beast King's cry of misery was spread across the flock of wild beasts. The swamp war crocodile didn't stop. It turned around and waved its thick tail. Tail hammer! Bang! That thick tail lashed the Beast King, making it roll back due to the strong impact. The Beast King lost a lot of blood on the way because of the head injury, tainting the ground red. Roar! The swamp war crocodile growled. The energy was surging and the ground was breaking. Many sharp stone spikes grew out. With some muffled noises, the stone spikes penetrated the Beast King, which exhaled its final breath. Blood tainted the stone spikes. The cry of misery ended. The Beast King died. Hooray! The swamp war crocodile raised its snout to cry to the skies, announcing its victory. All the people standing on the outer wall of the base city were dumbfounded by that battle. The battle ended quickly. That Beast King, which had been a mortal threat for them, was killed by Sua Ping's ride. His beast won by a landslide. The view of the Beast King being pierced through and lifted off from the ground by the spikes shocked all the people defending the wall. That had been a powerful and barbaric battle. Finally, they saw what it meant to have invincible power. Xiejin Shui and Qin Dehuang still had a hard time believing this. Both were Beast Kings, but they had been worlds apart. Terrifying. No one was able to utter a sound as they stared at the huge crocodile that was outside, with no beast daring to get closer. Clean this up! Standing in the air, Sua Ping gave an order to the swamp war crocodile, who was still making a show of authority. The swamp war crocodile darted a glare at Sua Ping, unhappy that he had stopped its fun. It shook its head, then turned around and glanced at the bunch of beasts around him. The wild beasts immediately fled after feeling the Beast King's overpowering energy. Bang! 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 The swamp war crocodile charged and stomped many advanced beasts to death in a flash. The swamp war crocodile and the inferno dragon were left to have their fun with the remaining wild beasts. Sua Ping flew to the outer wall. He noticed Xiejin Shui, Qin Dehuang, and the other familiar faces. After all, they were all titled battle pet warriors and they would always stand out in a crowd. The beasts didn't invade the city, did they? Sua Ping asked as soon as he landed on the wall. Mr. Su, you came back at a perfect time. Xiejin Shui said with excitement. That was the benefit of having a legendary level force in the base city. They could have waited for reinforcements, but distant water cannot quench the present thirst. The Longjiang base city would have been breached before reinforcements arrived, and his career as mayor would have reached its end. Qin Dehuang, who was usually not good at showing his mood, was barely able to hide his joy this time. If Suiping had not returned in time, his fierce fire ape would have been in fatal danger. Any other pets of the 9th rank would have been killed before putting up a fight. Mr. Su, on behalf of my pet, thank you. Qin Dehuang said, sincerely. He was truly grateful. He would never forget this. Mr. Su, Zhou Tianlin said. He no longer felt any hatred as he looked at the young man who had once invaded the Zhou family alone. Rather, he was quite thrilled to see him. Suiping nodded to him. This is where most beats were gathered. As long as we can keep it safe here, the other 3 sides can manage on their own. Mr. Su, if you had not come back, Longjiang would have been in serious trouble. None of us could have stopped that beast king. Xiejin Shui wanted to shake Suiping's hand, but was a little bit afraid of doing so at the same time. He just rubbed his hands together. He looked nothing like a mayor at the moment. Good. Suiping was relieved. As long as the beasts had not gotten inside the base city. He had returned in a hurry for a reason. His mother was protected by the system, but there are many other people he was familiar with in the Longjiang base city, mainly his customers. Some repeated customers would go to his store often and he would chat with them. They were more than mere acquaintances at this point. Even though they weren't bosom friends, he could not bear to think that they would die in a beast strike. There's nothing to be afraid of now that Mr. Su is here. Zhou Tianlin smiled. The dark cloud over their heads had finally cleared. He just spoke his mind. Qin Dehuang nodded in agreement. He had felt a sense of frustration that he had not felt for years when the fierce fire ape had almost been killed. Suiping smiled and turned around. Giving one look at the remaining beasts, Suiping said, we can catch up later. Since the Beast King is dead, what do you say we clear away all the beasts? Let's do it. Qin Dehuang said at once. Yes. Zhou Tianlin nodded. Without the Beast King, they no longer had to hold back, they could join in the battle themselves. Kill them. Suiping flew into the group of beasts at once. I'm right behind you. Qin Dehuang laughed. In a daze, he felt he had become young again. He summoned his other battle pets and flew toward the wild beasts. Coming! Zhou Tianlin followed Qin Dehuang and charged into the crowd of beasts as well. Xiejin Shui smiled. He felt that a heavy burden had been lifted off from his mind, the moment he saw Suiping arriving and killing that Beast King with his ride. But he didn't join the fight in person. He summoned 2 of his battle pets while he called people on the other side of the walls, telling them to drive away all the beasts. With Suiping and his battle pets' help, the beast horde soon collapsed. The tables had turned. Half an hour later, all the beasts on the east side had been driven away, leaving behind many corpses and blood that the ground couldn't absorb for quite some time. After less than 10 minutes, news arrived from the west side. They had also succeeded in driving beasts away. Soon after, good news came from the north and south sides. When everyone heard that Suiping had returned and the Beast King was eliminated, people that were guarding the other sides of the base city entered the fray and fought to their heart's content. The beasts were soon in disarray. After the battle, Xiejin Shui said to Suiping as he was leaving, Mr. Su, you have saved Longjiang. You are our hero. We'll be having a celebration banquet tonight and you have to be there. The media will be there as well. Suiping shook his head. I'm not a hero. I'm just doing what I can do. I have to cultivate so I won't go to the banquet. You, as well as the generals and the warriors, are the real heroes. Xiejin Shui felt disappointed. Qin Dehuang tried to persuade Suiping, Mr. Su, you can relax for one night. It'll be a bummer if you're not there. Right, Zhou Tianlin jumped in, Mr. Su, you have a store to run, right? I know that things are good and you have more than enough customers every day, but you can never be too popular. You will have even more customers in the future if people learned about your contributions. Fair point. Suoping raised his eyebrows. Fine. Suoping finally conceded. The others smiled. Suoping bid farewell to them. He asked the Inferno Dragon and the other two pets to return and rode the Swamp War Crocodile back to his store. Once again, he felt the slave contract had its shortcomings. The Swamp War Crocodile would be too big to be left outside the store because it would block the entire street. After they entered the territory of the shantytown area, Suoping told the Swamp War Crocodile to climb a hill along an isolated path and stay there for the moment. The hill was just a few blocks away from his store. That was the good thing about the shantytown area, out of the way and spacious. The Beast King would have smashed down many buildings if he were in the uptown area. Suoping reminded the Swamp War Crocodile not to hurt anyone without his orders and then headed back to the store. Of course, no one would approach the Swamp War Crocodile for no reason, so Suoping was not worried. He flew back to his street. There weren't many people outside. But Suoping was not surprised. The door was open. Tang Ruyan and Zhong Lingtong were sitting in the lounge, chatting away. Suoping remembered he had met Tang Ruyan's younger sister at the stadium. He remembered what she had said. Kill her if she is too much of a trouble for you. Suoping stepped in. The two girls were surprised since nobody had gone to the store. They were glad to see Suoping arrive. Suoping noticed how glad Tang Ruyan was. He smiled a faint smile her way. Sir. Like a cute bunny, Zhong Lingtong bounced over. Suoping rubbed her head. Did you argue with your sister Tang? Zhong Lingtong shook her head. Of course not. She's very nice. Tang Ruyan glared at Suoping. Do I look like someone eager to argue? You're arguing with me now. You humph. Tang Ruyan was foaming at the mouth. Not even Buddha can keep calm after talking to this guy. Have you heard about the beast strike? Suoping asked. Tang Ruyan was surprised since Suoping didn't ask about revenue first. Of course. The entire Longjiang base city is on alert. Even a 3-year-old would know. Many kindergartens have suspended school, and a lot of elders and kids are staying at shelters. Suoping was amazed by Xiejin Shui's fast reaction. He even had made sheltering arrangements. Didn't you just come back? How is it? I heard there's a Beast King. Tang Ruyan felt worried when thinking about this. Of course, a Beast King was nothing for this guy. Taken care of. They're having a celebration dinner tonight. Come with me, Suoping said. Tang Ruyan was speechless. Just as she had thought. This guy was the real monster. Taken care of? Sir, was it you who took care of the Beast King? Curiously, Zhong Lingtong asked. Suoping had left while riding on a Beast King. He wouldn't have been afraid even if he ran into a Beast King on his way back. In a way. I was working with others, Suoping answered. Zhong Lingtong could not help but admire her teacher. The wild beasts were invading and the entire Longjiang base city descended into a state of panic. But the beast strike was stopped as Suoping returned. It was clear that Suoping's contributions would not go unnoticed. Anyway, I thought you were going to the Supremacy League. How come you're back so soon? Are you here just to save the city? Tang Ruyan didn't think Suoping could have lost. After all, few people in the world were as freaky as this guy. I won the championship. Why? You think I should have stayed there for New Year? Suoping answered with another question. Tang Ruyan was stunned still. Championship? She glared at him. Didn't you just go there to compete? Since when is the championship measured with length of time? I shall call you Su the Deeser from now on. Couldn't you talk like a normal person? Tang Ruyan was hopping mad. Suoping looked at her. Stay put in the store. I can give you some special awards if you work well. For example, you'd have the priority if I sell 9th rank beasts again. Or, I can sell my Beast King to you when you become a master battle pet warrior. Tang Ruin was stunned still. She opened her eyes wide in disbelief. She wasn't sure if he was being serious or just joking. Selling the Beast King to her. Are you making fun of me? Tang Ruin asked. Su Ping answered, the requirement is that you must do your job well here. Tang Ruin stared at him. She had been staying there for a long time. She could tell that this guy was not joking. Why? She lowered her head. Employee benefits. Don't read too much into that. He patted her head. Okay, I have to go home and tell mom that I'm back. Tang Ruin watched as he left. She bit her lip and clenched her fingers. She wasn't stupid, she was rather smart and perceptive. Su Ping's offer was sudden. He had gone to the Supremacy League, in which the Tang family would also participate. Su Ping surely met them. But she couldn't guess what had happened when they met each other. She just had a feeling that Su Ping's kindness had much to do with the Supremacy League. Tang family. Tang Ruin felt her heart was twitching. There had been a time she felt great pride after uttering or hearing those two words. But then, the two words were like two swords. Every time she heard and thought of them, they would stab her in the heart. The Tang family was one of the ancient families, a big family. However, there was no room for her. Zhongling Tong was confused, wondering why Tang Ruin had suddenly become dispirited. Su Ping went home. He let his mother know about his safe return as well as the fact that the wild beasts had been taken care of. But his mother already knew about it. She had seen on TV, when the swamp war crocodile was taking Su Ping back to the city, the government had sent the news to the media, who reported it across the Longjiang base city. All the people in the base city were excited. They were celebrating. Su Ping felt his joy had been robbed from him. He told his mother about the dinner and asked whether she wanted to go, but she declined. Reason being, she didn't want to go on TV. Su Ping didn't expect that she would give away such a good chance to put herself on the spotlight. She would always brag about her son and daughter to the neighbors. But when she finally had a good chance to become famous in Longjiang, she didn't want to. Su Ping tried to talk her into going, but Li Qingru refused. You and your sister have good prospects. I'm happy enough to look around in the neighborhood. That dinner is a grand event, it would reflect poorly on you and your sister if I went and said something wrong. Su Ping said nothing for a moment. You won't do anything like that. You raised me. Nothing you do will ever reflect poorly on me. Su Ping looked into her eyes. No rumor can hurt me. Your son is at the titled rank. Rumors will only hurt the common men, not me. Su Ping insisted, and eventually, Li Qingru gave in. That night, the dinner was held at the city hall. All the famous media were there, and the family heads of the 5 families were also present. The generals who had performed exemplary work during the battle were also there, wearing their military uniforms and medals of honor. The dinner would be live-streamed. I am Xiejin Shui, your mayor. Xiejin Shui stood on the podium, looking solemn. This beast strike was led by a beast king with 57 ninth-rank beasts as the core force, and over 200,000 advanced beasts. That was a strike strong enough to topple many base cities, but we did not fall. We have successfully driven away all the beasts. The beast king was killed on the spot and 34 of the ninth-rank beasts were eliminated. The other wild beasts fled in panic. The reporters remained silent. At the moment, the citizens old or young, male or female, who were sitting in front of their TVs remained silent. Those words, without any glamour mixed in, had already filled them with apprehension. A beast king. 57 ninth-rank beasts. 200,000 advanced beasts. How intimidating that was! But they did not fail. In one day, the catastrophe was averted. The Beast King was killed. Many of our warriors were fighting, bleeding, and some heroic souls will never return to us, to their families. They are all our heroes. It is because of their contribution that we can enjoy peace. Of all the heroes, there is someone I must thank. He is the one who killed the Beast King for us. Without him, more of us would have perished, and more would have never seen their families again. He is Mr. Suaping, owner of the Pixie Pet Store. Xiejin's Hugh's impassioned voice echoed everywhere. As planned, the spotlight turned to Suaping. At the moment, the focus of Longzhong was Suaping. He wasn't nervous. Xiejin Shui invited him to the podium. I just did my part. The others helped stalling the beasts. They are the ones who you should thank, Suaping said. He finished his brief speech. Xiejin Shui reacted quickly. Mr. Su, you're too humble. You returned in time and killed the Beast King. That is how we were able to drive the other beasts away. You earned the credit. Suaping said nothing. The cameras were all on Suaping. Some people didn't know Suaping. Some had learned the name from the store and the Elite League. Basically, most people witnessing this were stunned. Apart from a very few people, not even his customers had been aware that the store owner that they talked to almost every day was able to kill a Beast King. Xiejin Shui said more words of gratitude. He thanked Suaping, as well as the 5 major families and warriors who had perished in battle. He also mentioned how he would make it up to the families of the fallen. The news conference came to an end. The dinner party began. Alcohol and delicacies. Eating and drinking. The city hall, a place always quiet and solemn, became filled with excitement that evening. The family heads went to make toasts in Suaping's favor, and they also got acquainted with Tang Ruan, Zhongling Tong, and Suaping's mother. Suaping's mother was the main focus. Qin Duhuang and the other family heads smiled at her warmly. It was hard to befriend Suaping, but it would be much easier to start with his family. Suaping was not worried about his mom showing up in public. After all, the ones that indeed wanted to harm him could find out about his family relationships easily, including his mom and Soling Yu's birthdays. That was a moment of honor. He had to share it with his family. It was too bad that he had not heard from his father yet. He had to wait for him to return. Those who were attending that gala, apart from the higher UPS and elites of the 5 families, were the ones who had done exemplary work during the battle and some VIPs. Because of Xiejin Shui's speech, everyone remembered the name, Suaping. At dinner time, someone would always drop by to talk to Suaping when he was eating. He had to stop now and then to talk. The dinner continued to the small hours of the night. Suddenly, Xiejin Shui felt his phone ring. He was surprised that someone would call him at that time. He apologized to the people he was with, set up a soundproof seal, and answered the call. Yes. Sir, this is not good. Beasts were detected in the C12 district and we have just heard that beasts are coming in from the spatial cracks in District B04. The beasts are gathering, the person sounded in a panic. Xiejin Shui turned pale. The beasts were still coming? But the Beast King was dead. He looked up and saw that Suaping was still eating and drinking. Seeing him immediately relieved Xiejin Shui a bit. Go and investigate. I want the most accurate and detailed information. Yes, sir. Xiejin Shui was no longer in the mood to enjoy dinner. He walked over to where Suaping was. Xiejin Shui nodded. He showed Suaping to the window and set up a soundproof seal. Xiejin Shui assumed a serious attitude and Suaping wore a solemn look as well. Mr. Su, I have received some updates. The beasts that we drove away seem to be coming back. I'm worried that they may return to launch another strike. Xiejin Shui sounded truly concerned. He shared all the information he had with Suaping. Suaping was the most powerful battle pet warrior there was in the Longzhong base city. Should a large-scale strike be imminent, they had to rely on him. Suaping was a bit relieved to hear this. Is that it? If they're trying to invade us again, we can just kill them again. There's nothing to be worried about. Xiejin Shui was both glad and frustrated after seeing Suaping react so calmly. Those with strength could indeed talk with confidence. The frustrating thing was that he had failed to find a way to reach the legendary rank. He had been stuck at the peak of the titled rank for over 100 years. All he needed was an opportunity. He wouldn't have to rely on anyone else if he was a legendary battle pet warrior. If he could break through, he wouldn't have to be so stressed out about a beast strike. Xiejin Shui shook his head to get rid of those messy thoughts. Mr. Su, I will never forget your kindness. Su Ping was more than willing to help out, but Xiejin Shui was not going to take that for granted. In their recent battle to defend the base city, people like Su Ping, as well as the 5 family heads, had gladly offered to help. Xiejin Shui was grateful for that. Theoretically speaking, since they were citizens of the Longjiang base city, Su Ping and those from the 5 major families ought to help. Still, Xiejin Shui understood that war came with risks that could be detrimental to their interests. Only the honest plain folks would talk about ethics and morals all day long, since they were too poor, and ethical standards were the only things they could afford to talk about. It was unrealistic to morally kidnap those who enjoyed a higher position in society. If anything, this approach would only generate the opposite effect. That was how the world worked. Su Ping, the 5 family heads, as well as the other titled battle pet warriors and anyone able to help, they could easily escape to another base city to seek a living. They might not enjoy comfortable days as they did in the Longjiang base city, but that was an option for them. To choose between different options was what humans had been born to do. What Xiejin Shui could do was to show his gratitude and treat those people more favorably so that they would choose to stay at Longjiang base city in times of crisis. It is what I should do. I'm also a person of the Longjiang base city, Su Ping said. He didn't think that Xiejin Shui owed him anything. He fought, not for Xiejin Shui, but for his hometown, his parents, and the customers that had gone to his store. For the old neighbors that used to call him Xiaosu, and the store at the end of the street that sold pretty tasty noodles. For so many others. That was Su Ping's home. That was the first place he had seen when he opened his eyes in that brand new world. It was where he grew up and where he had been sharing a life with his parents. He would never allow for the base city to fall as long as he was still able to protect it. Xiejin Shui gazed at Su Ping gratefully. He barely got to see people with both outstanding abilities and an innocent mind at the same time. Xiejin Shui had detailed information about Su Ping, including which hospital he had been born in and which doctor had welcomed him to the world. Maybe, that innocence was what made 19-year-olds adorable. Thank you. Xiejin Shui said to himself, instead of Su Ping. Sometimes it was hard to utter the words because they carried too much meaning. Xiejin Shui said a quick goodbye to Su Ping and left, using a side aisle in a hurry. Su Ping stood on the spot, thinking for a little bit. Afterward, he returned to his table and asked Tang Ruin and Zhongling Tong, "Are you full? Time for us to go back." "Yes." Verb. Zhongling Tong just opened her mouth when a very loud noise came out of her mouth. She covered up her mouth at once and looked at Su Ping, clearly embarrassed. "You are definitely a good eater," Su Ping was speechless. Since they had finished their dinner, Su Ping went to find his mother, who was at the moment surrounded by many ladies from rich families. She seemed to be in a pickle. He rescued her by saying that they had to leave early. Li Qingru gladly accepted. Those ladies were graciously talking to her, never disagreeing, but she could tell that they belonged in different worlds. Nothing they said was of any practical meaning. Those ladies saluted Su Ping and called him titled Warrior Su. They weren't aware of Su Ping's actual title, so that was the only way they could address him without coming off as impolite. Su Ping nodded to them and left the banquet hall with his mom, Tang Ruin, and Zhongling Tong. In the banquet hall, Qin Duhuang, Zhou Tianlin, and Mu Bahai were sitting at the same table. They were talking to each other, but their eyes were glued to Su Ping. All of them noticed when Su Ping left, but they still remained quite composed. They didn't have to prolong their stay since the most honored guest was leaving. "It is getting late. I have other things to attend to back at home. Goodbye." Lu Tianzong was the first to stand up and say goodbye. He bid farewell and left with his family elders. Then, Mu Bahai and Zhou Tianlin left one after the other. Soon, the people of the Qin family were the only ones seated at the table. Qin Duhuang set up a seal and cautioned in Shuhei, "Shuhei, do not tell others about what happened at the Supremacy League for now. Those people don't know anything about the Fate Challenger. Let's keep it that way." Qin Shuhei was baffled. Why so? While they were talking just then, he could tell that the others were trying to ask him about the Supremacy League, but Qin Duhuang had kept winking at him. He had not given any detailed answers for that reason. Still he felt confused. "You have traveled a lot over the years, why haven't you learned anything?" They would admire Mr. Su even more if they found out about the Fate Challenger title. Our good attitude wouldn't stand out if that were the case, comparatively speaking. How could we leave a better and deeper impression? Qin Duhuang shook his head and educated Qin Shuhei. Qin Shuhei was speechless. What a weird way to scheme. Of course, trying to befriend Suiping was not an easy thing. Suiping was able to kill a legendary battle pet warrior at the current stage. Once he became a legendary battle pet warrior, just the fact that the Qin family were Suiping's friends could drive up the Qin family's status. No one would ever make things difficult for them again, and even if they offended someone else, the latter might not dare to seek revenge. "I understand," Qin Shuhei said. Qin Duhuang nodded. Killing a legendary battle pet warrior and challenging all the titled battle pet warriors. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't heard it from you. No wonder it took you merely one day to get back. I thought he came back just for the wild beasts. I never could have anticipated that he had ended the competition in such a way." Qin Duhuang exclaimed. Qin Shuhei produced a forced smile. "You wouldn't have believed it. Even I felt it was all a dream after witnessing with my own eyes. It has been years since we last had a Fate Challenger." Qin Duhuang shook his head. He was a bit envious and vulnerable at the same time. He even felt weak when he was about to lose the fierce fire ape to the Beast King. It made him sense that his old age was catching up with him. Those titled battle pet warriors would lose their minds if they knew that Mr. Su is less than 20 years old, Qin Shuhei pointed out. Qin family had made a background check on Suiping a long time before. Suiping had been a different man, how he became stronger was hidden, but there shall be no mistake about his age. There were pictures of him when he was a kid, going through grade school, high school, and all kinds of strange selfies he had taken. People were able to tell that it was the same person. Therefore, he couldn't have faked his age. All of a sudden, Qin Duhuang was no longer in the mood to talk about this. "You mentioned that the North King was at the Supremacy League, so it is safe to assume that the prizes had been set as bait to lure out the fish, like the old man of the Qin family. Unfortunately, the fish was killed soon as he came out." "I was right. Some shameless old dudes are hiding their strength to avoid serving." Qin Shuhei said, "Do you think it has anything to do with the deep caves? I heard the news that the beasts were on a riot and a couple of legendary battle pet warriors were killed before the beasts were pushed back." "I think so," Qin Duhuang answered. "There's turmoil in the deep caves and we were just under attack. I saw on the news that 2 other base cities were under attack as well and they were asking for help. It was unusual to see those things happening all at once. We must be prepared." Qin Shuhei was scared. Just now, Xie said something to Mr. Su before he left. Mr. Su left moments after. "I believe something is happening." Qin Duhuang darted a look to the place where Suiping had been seated. "Let's go. I need to find Xie and ask him what's going on." Xie Shuhei nodded. A chauffeur drove Suiping back to his place. He told his mother to head back home and rest, then he sent Zhong Lingtong and Tang Ru into the dorm he had set up for them. After that, he went back to the store and closed the door. The store was empty. It was nice to be alone after all that noise. He went to the pet room. Joanna was cultivating there. "Aren't you bored, staying here all day long? Does that mean I can leave the store?" Nope. Then, what is the point of that question? Suaping opted to end the conversation. He summoned the Inferno Dragon and the Dark Dragon Hound, telling them to stay in the nursing pens. He took out the talent stone he had won. The stone was greyish in color. Suaping suddenly realized that he didn't know what to do with the stone. He took out his phone and called Venerable the Blade. Mr. Su. Venerable the Blade was surprised to receive a call from Suaping in the middle of the night. Truth be told, Suaping didn't expect that the call would go through. Venerable the Blade should have been unavailable if he was in another base city. Are you here in Longjiang? Suaping asked. Venerable the Blade chuckled. No, I'm still at the Aurora base city. Mr. Su, you must have taken care of the wild beasts. Those wild beasts were courting death by choosing to invade the Longjiang base city. Venerable the Blade wasn't the least worried about the beast strike at Longjiang. Longjiang was a Tier 2 base city. However, its defense was now close to the first tier because of the vicious person that was Suaping. He could ward off the strike even when there was a Beast King involved. That has been dealt with. Anyways, how come I can call you when you're still in Aurora City? Suaping voiced his confusion. Venerable the Blade explained, my number is valid across the continent. You can call me in whichever base city of the subcontinent district I am at the time. Of course, the number will be out of the service area if I went to another continent. Suaping didn't know about that. Indeed, a famous titled battle pet warrior could enjoy many benefits. For example, Qin Shuhei didn't have that kind of benefit, otherwise, he could have called Qin Shuhei when the latter was in the Holy Light base city. How did you get that number? Can I get one? Suaping was intrigued. He would be able to call Solingyu at any time if he had one. After all, she was far away from home, he was still worried, even though the vice principal was looking out for her. Of course you can. You are the Fate Challenger, Mr. Su. I will notify the operators and they will contact you, if that's all right with you, Venerable the Blade said. Thanks. I was calling to ask you about the talent stone. Do you know how to use it? That explained why Suaping would make the call at such a late hour. That is easy. The talent stone can convert to energy as soon as it comes in contact with astral powers. You can tell your battle pets to directly absorb it with astral powers, Venerable the Blade answered. Suaping didn't know it was that simple. Okay. Thanks, Suaping replied. He hung up and decided that he would focus on one pet first. He summoned the Inferno Dragon from the nursing pen and gave it the talent stone. Out of instinct, the Inferno Dragon opened its mouth and swallowed the talent stone. Suaping was speechless. Why did he have a feeling that he was feeding a dog? That is not food. Try to consume it with your energy, Suaping told the Inferno Dragon at once. The Inferno Dragon blinked. It began to mobilize its energy. Soon, a faint, greyish hue came over the Inferno Dragon, similar to the color of that talent stone. The flickering hue covered the Inferno Dragon. Suaping watched with curiosity. The Inferno Dragon raised its head as if looking at something on the ceiling. Its pupils contracted as if it were in insufferable pain. The flames began to surge out from the beast and it was panting heavily. A few minutes later, the Inferno Dragon calmed down and its eyes returned to normal. The pet scratched its head and eyed Suaping with confusion. Was that it? Suaping decided to find out. What is 1000-7? The Inferno Dragon appeared to be baffled. Suaping shook his head. He cast an identification spell on the Inferno Dragon. Its combat strength had increased to 10.9 from 10.5. An increase of 0.4 points. Suaping checked the abilities mastered. There was a new addition, and it was a legendary skill. The Song of Hell. Suaping found out more about the skill. It was one that was able to generate sonic waves. One legendary skill for one talent stone. Not bad, Suaping said to himself gladly. He had heard that there was a 50-50 chance that the talent stone would fail to yield any results. Clearly, he had been lucky with that one. His trip and fight hadn't been for naught. Good. So Ping patted the Inferno Dragon's thick legs and took it to the test room to try out the newly acquired skill. They came out a few minutes later. So Ping was happy with the skill. The Song of Hell was quite a formidable skill. Go back, So Ping told the Inferno Dragon to head back to the nursing pen. So Ping browsed through his storage space after the Inferno Dragon went back to rest. Joanna was unable to accept orders for professional training while he had been away. The general training could be taken care of by the dummy trainer. He could have an easy night. He pulled up the list of cultivation sites and searched. He found the mirror of the Dragon King's mysterious realm in the cultivation sites. He wondered if he could find the mirrors of the other two mysterious realms of the subcontinent district. It was a long list. He read 10 lines of writing with a single glance. It had been more than 10 minutes and his eyes were getting sore, but he had yet to find familiar names. So Ping didn't know when he would reach the end of the list. The cultivation sites provided by the system ranged from those created in the Archean times to places created and left behind by countless powerful warriors throughout history. The total number of cultivation sites had to be stunning, so Ping shook his head. He had to give up for the moment. After all, the names of the mysterious realms might actually be different to those listed as cultivation sites. It was like finding a needle in a haystack, and could take forever. So Ping found a cultivation site that was similar to the Dragon King's mysterious realm. The strongest creatures found in that place would be Beast Kings. For So Ping, Beast Kings at the Fate State would still be difficult to beat. He would be unable to fight those Beast Kings, even with the treasures that the Dragon King had given him. So Ping didn't take the Inferno Dragon and the other battle pets this time. They wouldn't get much out of training in such an elementary cultivation site. He would rather leave them in the nursing pens. So Ping wanted to go to a cultivation site because he wanted the little skeleton to wake up as soon as possible, since the flow of time was faster there. He was in a world of blood with corpses and bones everywhere. He encountered creatures that crawled out from the sea of blood and mountains of remains as soon as he got there. So Ping didn't waste any time, he immediately darted to where those creatures were. Apart from using the Fist of Exorcist, he also tried other combat skills he had learned from the celestial gods. He was getting more proficient after some rounds of fights. Soon, one night had passed. One night, according to the outside world, So Ping had been in the cultivation site for more than 10 days and he had fought for more than 10 days. He could feel that he had become more perceptive. After he went back to the store, as per usual, he adjusted himself and opened the door for business. There were tons of customers waiting that day. After the broadcast from the day prior, everyone in the Longjiang base city knew So Ping and the Pixie Pet Store was more popular than ever. Outside the store were several long lines. Mr. Su, is it true that you are the one who defeated the wild beasts? Can I have an autograph? I'm your fan. Mr. Su, I'm here to say thank you on behalf of my son. Thank you for avenging him. Some of the customers were excited and some were just there to see So Ping. An old man, however, was there to merely express his thanks. The old man's words quieted the crowd down. People still remembered the deceased heroes after having enjoyed the grand celebration. Many customers gazed at the old man with respect. So Ping didn't expect this. He quickly helped up the old man who was bowing to him. The store had been packed even before the morning ended. After lunch, Tang Ruyan and Zhongling Tong stayed in the store and talked about cultivation when So Ping went back to the demigod burial to continue his training. Time flew. Soon, 3 days passed. So Ping had been having very good business results during those 3 days. In the meantime, Xiejin Shui had been in a bad mood. The updates he had been receiving were not optimistic at all. Wild beasts were gathering. There was the chance that an extra-large scale was being conjured. To make it worse, there were more than one Beast King. Xiejin Shui merely hoped that the Beast Kings were just going to travel past the base city. A piece of news arrived in the afternoon of the third day. It left Xiejin Shui cold. He sat on his chair for a long time before he came back to his senses. He had to get help. His hand was trembling when he picked up his phone. At night, Su Ping, Qin Duhuang, and the others who had received a call from Xiejin Shui were gathered in the conference room at the city hall. Xiet, have things gone worse? Qin Duhuang turned pale to see Xiejin Shui remaining silent. It had been one day and yet, Qin Duhuang had seen some of Xiejin Shui's hair beginning to turn white. Qin Duhuang felt something bad was going to happen. Zhou Tianlin and Mu Bahai sensed that the situation had to be grave. Their families had also sent out people to investigate during the past 3 days. The wild beasts were gathering. Xiejin Shui couldn't have hidden that information from them even if he wanted to. Another beast strike was coming. But this time, they weren't as nervous as before because Su Ping's presence had boosted their confidence. Apart from Su Ping, there was that legendary battle pet warrior in his store. Su Ping was also a man who could kill a beast king. The Longjiang base city was in good hands. Su Ping found himself a seat. He was surprised to find that Xiejin Shui had not uttered a single word. Was there more than one beast king? Xiet, what is going on? Talk to us. You called us here. So, say something. The family head of the Ye family had a short temper. He could not help but shout at Xiejin Shui. Xiejin Shui looked at him and then at Su Ping. He seemed to be a little bit livelier. I called you here so I'm not planning on hiding anything from you. There isn't just one beast king. We have detected the presence of more than 5 beast kings. 5. Qin Duhuang and the others were greatly taken aback. 5 beast kings? Seriously? 1 beast king was enough of a catastrophe. 5 beast kings were enough to eliminate any base city. Why would there be so many beast kings gathering outside the Longjiang base city? Su Ping was just as surprised. He frowned. If 5 beast kings were there together, it would mean that one of them would be a leader, probably at the void state. Xiejin Shui furrowed his lips. He gazed at Su Ping, who was the only one able to defeat a beast king. Jizhen Shui felt his already crushed confidence broke even more after noticing the surprise in Su Ping's eyes. With a hoarse voice, he continued, apart from the 5 beast kings, there are traces of the otherworld heavenly king. Silence. The conference room was in absolute silence. Qin Duhuang, Zhou Tianlin, and the others sat there with their mouths agape, looking at Xiejin Shui in astonishment. The otherworld heavenly king? Su Ping was puzzled. The reaction from the others told him that this wasn't a good thing. Xiet, are you serious? It has to be a lie. Can you? Lu Tianzong's voice was trembling. He uttered words that didn't quite match together. The others gulped. It was hard for them to breathe as they glued their eyes on Xiejin Shui. Chapter 495 Gather everyone to save Longjiang. The otherworld heavenly king. Any titled battle pet warrior would tremble upon hearing that name, because it was a synonym for terror. The otherworld heavenly king. Su Ping looked at them in confusion. He noticed that, as composed as Qin Duhuang had always been, he was visibly afraid. That could not be good. The others were pulled back to reality by Su Ping's words. Their fear disappeared for a tiny bit when they turned to look at Su Ping, but their minds were still clouded. Mr. Su, you don't know. Mu Bahai was unable to believe that. All the titled battle pet warriors knew about that entity. Still, it didn't seem that Su Ping was faking. Su Ping shook his head. Xiejin Shui jumped in. Mr. Su, have you heard about the 4 heavenly kings? The 4 heavenly kings? Su Ping nodded. I know, Andy Lao Takhua, Jackie Chung Hok Yao, Aaron Kwok Fu Xing, and Leon Lai Ming. Xiejin Shui, I don't know what you've just mentioned, but the 4 heavenly kings I was just referring to are the 4 most powerful beast kings on the blue planet. Xiejin Shui explained, the heavenly kings of Otherworld, 7 Sins, Abyss, and Good and Evil. The most powerful beast kings. Sui Ping wondered if they were beast kings at the fate state. That is correct. Zhou Tianlin added with fear in his eyes. The tower pointed out that the 4 are the most powerful beast kings. Even a legendary battle pet warrior would have to flee when running into any of the 4 when alone. The good and evil heavenly king is the most formidable for the 4, their leader. But this heavenly king is secretive in the way it moves, barely leaving a trace. It rarely causes any disasters. Unlike the good and evil heavenly king, the other 3 beast kings would come out every now and then. Decades ago, the 7 Sins heavenly king went past a base city and leveled it to the ground overnight. 2 legendary battle pet warriors went after this heavenly king but failed. The 4 heavenly kings are not only terrifying but scheming. They are more savage and cruel than the other beast kings. The others felt their minds were being weighed down with anxiety after hearing Zhou Tianlin's introduction. Sui Ping was no longer in the mood to make any jokes. Not even 2 legendary battle pet warriors had been able to kill that beast king. It was very likely that the 4 most powerful beast kings of the blue planet were at the fate state, or the void state at the very least. The little skeleton's bloodline awakening had yet to finish. The most powerful pet Sui Ping had at the moment was the swamp war beast, which was merely at the peak of the ocean state. It would never compare against a beast king of the void state. Of the 4, the Otherworld heavenly king is the weakest, but it has even killed 3 legendary battle pet warriors. Qin Duhuang added. The cloud over their minds thickened. They could count on Sui Ping fighting the average beast kings. But when a beast king was able to kill a legendary battle pet warrior, Sui Ping would not have the strength to defeat it. Lu Tianzong and Zhou Tianlin were thinking. If the Longjiang base city was doomed, then leaving in time would be the best choice for their families. They would abandon the base city, but at the very least they would keep their families safe. Xiejin Shui looked up and became even more frustrated after noticing the complicated looks that Qin Duhuang, Mu Bahai, and the others were wearing. He had only shared the news to the 5 and Sui Ping because he knew there would be a surge of panic once the public learned about it. The fact that 5 beast kings were there was enough to create chaos, not to mention the arrival of the Otherworld heavenly king. However, the public would know when the war broke out. He could only hide the news for this long. Xiejin Shui had made up his mind to tell Sui Ping and the 5 family heads because he wanted them to make the decision beforehand. That would be better than them escaping in a panic in the middle of the battle. He was also showing his sincerity. He didn't have high hopes, but he still wished that Sui Ping and the 5 major families would stay to power through this together. Xiejin Shui was the only one who couldn't turn his back on the Longjiang base city. He was the mayor, the leader of the base city, the guardian. He would never leave as long as he was still breathing. Sir, how credible is the information? Sui Ping asked. He understood that the information was most likely real when Xiejin Shui was willing to share it, knowing that it could create panic. Even so, Sui Ping thought he had to ask. Xiejin Shui looked at Sui Ping and then at the other 5 who were gazing at him with hope. After a moment of silence, Xiejin Shui answered, the ground surveillance took a picture. The image was blurry, but the computer was able to analyze it. It is very likely to be true. The last glint of hope was gone. Qin Duhuang, Mu Bahai, and the others felt desperate. Very likely? That was a nice way to soften the blow. There was a picture. It was a fact. There were 5 beast kings. What else could command the 5 beast kings, apart from the Otherworld heavenly king? Sui Ping stood up slowly and said, Sir. Xiejin Shui felt his heart skip a beat. Sui Ping said slowly, I cannot make other promises. But I, Sui Ping, shall never leave the Longjiang base city. Xiejin Shui and the other 5 family heads were stunned. The young man was serious. Xiejin Shui felt a lump in his throat. Qin Duhuang and the others were touched. A moment later, Zhou Tianlin announced his position as well. The Zhou family is willing to live and die with the Longjiang base city. The others turned to him. Zhou Tianlin was serious and solemn. He was not joking. They could tell that he meant it. He wasn't only saying those words to please Suiping or Xiejin Shui. After all, with the 5 beast kings and the heavenly king to consider, pleasing Suiping would not benefit him at all. Zhou Tianlin indeed planned on staying in the base city. Qin Duhuang heaved a sigh all of a sudden. The Qin family has been in the Longjiang base city for hundreds of years. My father and my grandsons are people of this base city. There was a sharp look in his eyes. Since we are people of the Longjiang base city, we shall be souls of the Longjiang base city after we pass away. The Qin family shall never flinch from a battle. Inspired by his passionate words, Mu Bahai made up his mind. The Mu family will keep you company. The Ye family has never known what giving up means. Since you're staying, the Lu family will not stand down. Anyway, Xiat, have you sent out the information? Do we have any reinforcements? Have you notified the tower? The others turned to Xiejin Shui for answers. The mentioning of the tower had given them another glint of hope. Xiejin Shui nodded. I've sent out the information. But I don't know if anyone is coming to help us. I will visit the tower in person. We have just learned about this today and the wild beasts are still gathering. The beast kings are on their way, summoning more wild beasts. I suppose we have 1 or 2 days before the strike begins, so there's still time for me to drop by the tower. Yes. If we can invite over some legendary battle pet warriors, adding Mr. Su and that female legendary battle pet warrior in his store, we shall not be afraid even when Otherworld Heavenly King is here. Indeed. Finally, there were glimmers of hope for them. They could win this after all. The Otherworld Heavenly King was powerful, but it was nowhere near as powerful as the good and evil Heavenly King, the leader of the 4 Heavenly Kings. They would have escaped by then if it were the actual leader. Fighting the Heavenly King of good and evil was equal to smashing an egg to a rock. Even if half of all the tower's legendary battle pet warriors were there, they would be defeated by the good and evil Heavenly King. The tower had once tried to battle this Heavenly King. Several legendary battle pet warriors passed away. The legendary battle pet warriors were tightly cooperating and yet, the good and evil Heavenly King had won. One could imagine how terrifying it was. It was way more powerful than the Otherworld Heavenly King which had killed 3 legendary battle pet warriors by itself. Since you're willing to stay and fight for the Longjiang base city, there isn't much I can add, other than saying that I'll never forget your kindness. Xiejin Shui stood up. He looked at Suiping, Qin Duhuang and the other 4 and bowed to them. Xiat! Don't do this! Qin Duhuang helped him up. Right. We're all doing this voluntarily, not for your sake. You don't have to do this. Xiat, you're older than me. I won't accept your bow. Zhou Tianlin, Mu Bahai and the others spoke in a hurry. Xiejin Shui's eyes reddened as tears were about to course down his cheeks. He took a deep breath and pushed down his strong emotions. Guys, I'm going to the tower tonight. Go back and get ready. We'll talk after I come back. Good. They nodded. Their short meeting had reached an end. After they went out, Xiejin Shui flew away from the Longjiang base city on his 9th rank bird to request reinforcements from the tower. The base city was under attack. It was the tower's obligation to help, that was why Xiejin Shui was heading there. I'm going to find my old friends. Qin Duhuang was about to leave as well. Mu Bahai darted him a look. Aren't you worried that you'd be unwittingly luring your old friends into a trap? This time. I understand we still have hope but we could also fail. He left something unsaid. Even if they could succeed in the end, there was no telling if any of them would die in battle. The Longjiang base city might still stand but the warriors might never come back. Battles required blood. Qin Duhuang didn't turn around. I won't force them to come. As a matter of fact, I hope they don't get into this mess. That being said, now that the Longjiang base city is in trouble, I shall do everything within my abilities to try and fight for more hope. With that said, he left at once. That man, Mubahai said nothing else. I won't call anyone. I don't have many friends. Lu Tianzong shook his head and produced a forced smile. Zhou Tianlin cast him a disdainful glance. How sad that is. I wonder what gives you the courage to say that out loud. Go to hell. You two are Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Don't taunt each other, the head of the Ye family interjected. They chatted for a bit more, but no one was in the mood to prolong their conversation. They soon went back to their respective families. Su Ping left as well. He went back to his store. He thought of Venerable the Blade and called him. Mr. Su. Venerable the Blade was surprised to receive a second call. Su Ping went straight to the point. Longjiang base city is in trouble. The wild beasts are coming back and there are 5 beast kings. It is said that the presence of the otherworld heavenly king was detected. Are you willing to come and help? Venerable the Blade was stunned still. He didn't interrupt Su Ping, although he couldn't help but shout after processing the last bit of Su Ping's sentence, the otherworld heavenly king. That is correct. Of the 4 heavenly kings. That is correct. The answer Su Ping received was silence. Venerable the Blade thinking things through and Su Ping didn't push him. He waited quietly. After all, Venerable the Blade didn't owe him anything. After that moment of silence, Venerable the Blade asked, Are you sure about that? What are you planning to do? Su Ping answered with determination, Stay. Stay till the end. Venerable the Blade once again replied with silence. Staying till the end? This might just as well be the end of them when Otherworld Heavenly King arrived. I'll go. Venerable the Blade answered. He answered resolutely, without any hesitation. That quick reply surprised Su Ping. He didn't expect that Venerable the Blade could be so determined. Are you sure? Be noted that not even I can promise anything this time. Su Ping reminded him. He was indeed afraid. He had no idea what the otherworld heavenly king was like. Not even Qin Dehuang knew much about it. The 4 heavenly kings would only make contact with humanity every 10 or dozens of years. They would inflict great harm in the world each time they appeared. No one was aware of their actual capabilities. Venerable the Blade produced a forced smile. I understand, but I will still go. If you're going to stay till the end, I just hope I can help you save some lives. It would be preposterous for Su Ping to say he could promise to save everyone when the otherworld heavenly king of otherworld arrived. Who could have the confidence to defeat the 4 heavenly kings? Venerable the Blade was not going to help for Su Ping's sake. He was going there to save lives. The many inhabitants. Since they weren't giving up on the Longjiang base city, Venerable the Blade merely hoped to reduce the number of casualties, even if it only meant saying thousands or hundreds of people. Su Ping was moved. He was able to understand Xiejin Shui's mood for a moment. Thank you. Su Ping said solemnly. Venerable the Blade laughed. No need to thank me. Why, Mr. Su? Do you think I'm that much of a coward? Su Ping laughed as well. Since you're coming, I'm going to give you a little present after the battle, Su Ping added. Venerable the Blade was interested. Really? What is it? It's a secret, Su Ping replied. Venerable the Blade didn't press Su Ping for the answer. They ended the call. Su Ping then called Lin Ziking, the one who was searching materials for him. He heard some sort of noises from Lin Ziking's side when Su Ping said that the otherworld heavenly king was heading to the Longjiang base city. Soon, Lin Ziking said that the signal was breaking up and he hung up. Su Ping didn't mind. He knew that disturbing the signal was possible when one had enough astral powers. There was nothing wrong with people not wanting to go there and take the risk. Su Ping called someone else, but Han Yuxiang said that he could stay at the academy and take care of So Lingyu. At the same time, Su Ping was worried that Han Yuxiang would tell So Lingyu about that strike, that would only worry her. It would be more troublesome if she were to insist on going back home, that would be more troublesome. Finally, Suaping called the Tang family and Xieganj from the Star Organization. They weren't friends, but they were the most powerful forces that Suaping knew. Tang Mingqing received a nasty shock. He wondered if something had happened to Suaping's mind. They were enemies. Why would Suaping ask them? But as he remembered his performance at the Supremacy League, Tang Mingqing didn't immediately turn him down. He only said that he would report back to his family head and call Suaping back. Xieganj was just as dumbstruck when he received the call. It was odd that Suaping would turn to the Star Organization. Xieganj refused without any hesitation when he heard the name of the Otherworld Heavenly King. No kidding. It had already been hard for the Star Organization to maintain their status after their legendary leader had passed away in the deep caves. They had no extra hands to help Suaping. Besides, they were mutually bearing grudges. Suaping's performance at the Supremacy League was stunning, but that was a completely different matter. Suaping was neither surprised nor disappointed. He called everyone that he could think of. Afterward, he went back to the elementary cultivation site to cultivate, at the same time hoping that the little skeleton could wake up before the battle. Time zipped by. Soon, the crisis that would soon befall the Longjiang base city was learned by other base cities. The general public of the other base cities remained oblivious, but the more informed higher UPS had heard about the Longjiang base city. 5 Beast Kings. The Otherworld Heavenly King. Both pieces of news were stunning. Some underground trains bound to the Longjiang base city were suspended. On the second day, many people suddenly showed up by the outer wall of the Longjiang base city. The guards that were standing on the outer wall, albeit somewhat nervous, were surprised to see those advanced battle pet warriors, as well as titled battle pet warriors arriving on 9th rank battle pets. We heard that the Longjiang base city is in trouble. We're here to help. Bro, get us some random place to settle down. The Fire League will advance and retreat together with you. Some of the battle pet warriors arrived alone, while others were explorers groups from other base cities. Some titled battle pet warriors were also there to help out. The guards on the outer wall were so excited and moved that they burst into tears. The Longjiang base city was not alone. Humans were not alone. The entire Longjiang base city was in a state of emergency. The kids and women that had just gotten out from the shelters went back there again. Some elders voluntarily stayed outside so that more kids could stay in the shelter, stating that they wanted to save more hope for the future. Beauty also bloomed in the face of disaster and darkness. Only in darkness could light break through. Many people emptied their houses so that the people arriving to help could have a place to stay. Under Qin Dehuang's leadership, the 5 major families mobilized their connections and wealth to purchase goods and materials that were provided to the reinforcements and the government troops for free. This day, everyone worked as one for a single purpose. Suaping sensed that he had become more skilled in combat after spending 2 nights in a row in the cultivation sites. At the moment he was able to easily kill a beast at the peak of the 9th rank. No beast below the king level counted as a threat to him. The unfortunate thing was that the little skeleton was still sleeping and had made no signs of waking up. But the blood cocoon had shrunk, the process was surely approaching the end. The first thing Suaping wanted to check out was the situation outside after he returned. He quickly freshened up and adjusted his mood. He had become numb to killing after spending such a long time in the cultivation sites. His body was crying for more killing. He saw a few customers outside when he opened the door. The several people present were all familiar faces. Su Yingxiu, Su Kuang's sister, was also there. Suaping wasn't all that surprised by the lack of customers, considering the current situation. Many people were currently in hiding or preparing for the upcoming battle. Some with strong connections had even left the Longjiang base city. Of course, many people were staying, most did because they had nowhere else to go. Mr. Su, I heard 5 Beast Kings are coming. Can you defeat them this time? The customer that stood by the door was the coal boss, who was also a battle pet warrior. He was in his 40s, but he was merely at the 4th rank. He couldn't have made a career as a battle pet warrior. Having no other choice, he had to inherit the family business and become a coal tycoon. His mines were outside the base city. He had let go of all his workers in the previous beast strike. The mines and excavations were being occupied by wild beasts at the moment. As such, the man had to seek shelter in the base city. He decided to visit Suaping's store that day. Having his pets trained was not his major intention, he was just too bored and scared, and wanted to sound Suaping out. Suaping remembered the man's name, Lu Shifen, a common girl's name, not a man's. I will stay here whether I can defeat them or not, Suaping said. He wasn't worried about the 5 beast kings, but the otherworld heavenly king. Of course, by the looks of it, Lu Shifen was not aware of the horrors such a heavenly king could bring about. That was not surprising, Suaping had not heard of it before, either. That information was exclusive to titled warriors and above. The general public only had access to a limited amount of information. The ones who stood higher in society were able to see more. Otherwise, one would only see the tip of an iceberg and then make ill-informed assumptions. Lu Shifen's nervousness lessened a bit. The others standing behind Lu Shifen were more than happy to hear that answer. As a matter of fact, they were surprised and happy enough already after seeing Suaping opening the door. They came to know who Suaping had killed the Beast King and forced back the wild beasts thanks to the recent press conference. As long as Suaping was still there, there would be hope for the Longjiang base city. Mr. Su, you deserve my admiration. You're a hero, someone praised Suaping. Mr. Su, can I join you in the next battle? The boy that was the third in line asked. Suaping looked at him. He was a young student at the 4th rank, same as Lu Shifen. You're still young. Your job is to study and cultivate well, Suaping answered. This time, we will be here even if the world is coming to an end. Your turn to take our place will come in the future, when we can no longer fight. Work hard. Mr. Su is right. Young man, do work hard. The other people nodded and encouraged that brave young man. The young man committed Suaping's words to memory. The fighting will made his blood surge. This time, Suaping and the other battle pet warriors would be the fighters. Next time, it would be his turn. Su Yingxiu was touched by Suaping's words. Regardless of rank, Suaping was also just a young man. But he was stepping up in the face of such a disaster. Su Yingxiu was filled with mixed feelings. She had felt the same when she listened to the last lesson of her admirable mentor, who was assiduous and tireless when she was soon to graduate. She had the same feelings when she was with her captain, who would always protect her. She took a deep breath but said nothing. Suaping did not indulge for long in the conversation. He invited the customers to enter the store. Professional training again? Suaping asked Su Yingxiu. Su Yingxiu nodded. I will help in the battle this time. Some doubts had still plagued her before going there. But she became more determined than ever when she arrived and saw Suaping. She was an explorer, and theoretically speaking, she was a member of the civic system of the base city. She would be enlisted in the case of an imminent battle, but she had powerful enough connections to avoid such a fate. She was wondering if she should use such connections. However, at the moment, she felt it was nothing scary to make an effort for her hometown. She had not been afraid when she arrived in that world. Why should she be afraid of leaving it? You're going to the front lines. Suaping looked at her. He remembered that explorers would be enlisted. He nodded and cautioned her. Be careful. I don't want to see that punk Su Kuang coming back and not being able to see his sister. I don't want to lose a wealthy client, either. Su Yingxiu laughed. That won't happen. I'm not as good as you, but those beasts won't kill me that easily. She would have bragged even more if it weren't for the fact that she wasn't all that familiar with Suaping. She was determined. Suaping nodded to her as a reply. He accepted her money. Suaping told all the customers to go back and return later in the afternoon. Suaping heard a man whooshing in after Su Yingxiu had left, someone familiar. It was Venerable the Blade. "Mr. Su, I'm here." Venerable the Blade laughed as he strode inside. Suaping was moved after seeing that Venerable the Blade was really there. Perfect timing. "I've been meaning to ask. Are you familiar with the Otherworld Heavenly King?" "Well, I didn't know much and I never thought that I would have to deal with it one day, so I never asked about it." But, Venerable the Blade meant to say that he could ask Yuan Tianchen who would be more likely to know about that Heavenly King, given that he was a legendary battle pet warrior who enjoyed a high status in the tower. He would know something that others didn't. Suaping was a bit disappointed. "Anyway, now that we decided to stay, let's just fight." Venerable the Blade smiled. "That's right." Suaping smiled. "How are things? I saw many people coming over to help as I was arriving." "Indeed, most people in the world are good," Venerable the Blade said happily. Suaping shook his head. "I don't know. Our mayor went to the tower to ask for reinforcements. Things would be better for us if he could invite some legendary battle pet warriors to come." Suaping didn't think it would be a problem to save the base city if there were some legendary battle pet warriors working with him. While the Otherworld Heavenly King was intimidating, the legendary battle pet warriors could distract it while he went for the flank. The Inferno Dragon and the Dark Dragon Hound could inflict some harm. They could simply scare away the Heavenly King if killing it was too tall an order. Those Beast Kings had brains. They would run when the battle turned out to be tougher than expected. After all, the Longjiang base city was not that different from other base cities. From a Beast King's perspective, base cities were just the same kind of food. Venerable the Blade was relieved. "Good. I hope that the tower can send us several legendary battle pet warriors. I heard that there are more than 20 legendary battle pet warriors, excluding those serving at the deep caves. Longjiang base city will be safe if they can send over 7 or 8. Suaping was surprised. "There are that many legendary battle pet warriors stationed at the tower? More than 20? He had often heard that there were merely 2 legendary battle pet warriors from that subcontinent district. Were the others from the other 3 continents? Venerable the Blade noticed Suaping's confusion. "There are more than 2 legendary battle pet warriors from our subcontinent district in the tower. But the others from our subcontinent district don't have any factions here. Their parents, kids, loved ones, and families have all passed away. After all, legendary battle pet warriors can live to more than 1,000 years old. Their lives can be prolonged if they take some kinds of herbs. As such, those legendary battle pet warriors have the weight of the world on their shoulders. None of them are in the mood to lead their own forces in the world, they just stay in the tower and cultivate, rarely coming out. So, few people know about them." That explained it. He was right. People who enjoyed a higher status in society could see more. But he also thought of the North King and their conversation. He was confused. The North King mentioned that they were in dire need of more people to guard the deep caves. If the tower had more than 20 legendary battle pet warriors, the tower should have the ability to fill up the empty positions left when several legendary battle pet warriors passed away in the deep caves. Why would the tower be in dire need of more? Could it be that more than a dozen legendary battle pet warriors died in the deep caves? That thought filled Suaping with dread. That would be a grave matter. After all, legendary battle pet warriors were quite rare. People would say that they could only see the birth of one legendary battle pet warrior in 100 years. In all the continent, only a dozen would be able to reach the legendary rank over the course of 1,000 years. Of course, several would reach the legendary rank within the short span of a few hundreds of years during the Golden Ages. The wild beasts would act less frequently in the continent during those bountiful times. While Suaping was thinking, he heard other people arrive. After a gust of wind settled down, Suaping sensed that several titled battle pet warriors had entered the store. Venerable the Blade was also alerted. 3 men entered the store. The old man who seemed to be the leader of the 3 saluted Suaping, Fate Challenger, nice to meet you. That old man looked familiar. Zhongling Tong, who was staying near the storefront, ran over and shouted pleasantly, Grandpa. Suaping remembered that the man was from the Zhong family. The other old man standing next to him was the one who had escorted him and Zhongling Tong on their way to the Longjiang base city. Fate Challenger, nice to meet you, the other 2 men saluted as well. The Zhong family had learned about what had happened during the Supreme League. A titled battle pet warrior of the Zhong family was there. As such, they were all respectful in front of Suaping. Suaping was not only a top trainer but a Fate Challenger. Fate Challengers were even more prestigious than top trainers. A Fate Challenger was regarded not only as a form of address, but also a rank. A rank that was higher than the titled rank, second only to the legendary rank. Fate Challenger. Tang Ruin stared at Suaping in a daze. Suaping asked the 3 men, what are you doing here? He didn't remember having called them. Did they show up to help voluntarily? The leader was gazing at Zhongling Tong with fondness. He cupped his fists at Venerable the Blade and said to Suaping, we heard that the Longjiang base city was in trouble and the other world Heavenly King is coming. Is that true? Most likely. Suaping nodded. The old man was not surprised. Even so, he did look nervous. Fate Challenger, what is your plan then? Staying with Longjiang and getting through this hard time together. The 3 didn't expect that Suaping was planning to stay. Well, the old man felt awkward. Fate Challenger, you could go anywhere you like. Why would you stay and take the risk? Suaping raised his eyebrows. You're not here to help. The old man saw that Suaping had misunderstood him. He was about to say no when he thought of Suaping's attitude. He produced a forced smile, we're here because we are worried about our kid and you, Fate Challenger. We thought you were planning on leaving so we were going to give you a lift. Suaping finally understood. It turned out that the Zhong family was there to fetch the girl after they heard the news. Since you're here to pick up Xiao Tong, take her. I won't leave, Suaping answered. The old man could tell that Suaping was becoming less friendly toward him. Fate Challenger, she's the one most promising kid of the Zhong family. You must know that her staying here won't be of any help. Fate Challenger, now that you're determined to stay, the Zhong family won't sit around and do nothing. How about this? I will leave those 2 men here to help you while I take Xiao Tong back with me. Then I'll come back with more people from the Zhong family. That sincere tone softened Suaping's attitude. He nodded. You don't have to gather more people. I am happy enough with that proposal. Getting more people here will be too much trouble and it's not easy for the Zhong family to groom so many battle pet warriors. Those 2 will be more than enough. The 2 turned pale but said nothing. Suaping was Zhongling Tong's teacher and a Fate Challenger, which was rarer than a legendary battle pet warrior. The Longjiang base city was Suaping's hometown. They were supposed to offer help and use that as a chance to befriend Suaping. They would have sent over reinforcements instead of going to pick up Zhongling Tong if it weren't for the fact that the other world Heavenly King was too intimidating. No, I won't go. Zhongling Tong shouted. She could no longer stand quiet, since she realized that her grandpa was there to take her home. I will be wherever my teacher is. I won't go home. The old man glared at her. He was there to take her back home at the risk of offending Suaping. If she stayed and something happened to her, the Zhong family would have labored in vain. Also, the Zhong family's tie with Suaping would be cut off if something happened to Zhongling Tong. Zhongling Tong was the tie. Tong er, be a good girl. The old man wanted to scold her but he didn't dare use harsh words in Suaping's presence. Zhongling Tong looked into his eyes. Grandpa, you don't have to say anything else. I will stay with my teacher. He has not taught me training skills yet, so I haven't finished my learning. I won't go anywhere. The old man was unhappy. For one thing, the girl was more stubborn than he had thought. For another, Sua Ping had not taught her anything, even though she had been there for so long. Why was that? Although nursing doubts, the old man didn't ask anything. He kept his discomfort to himself. Are you sure? Livid with rage, that was the only question the old man asked. Sua Ping looked at Zhong Lingtong, the determined girl. He was also surprised. They had not been together for long enough for her to be that resolute. Sua Ping was not worried. She would be staying in the store anyway, and still be safe even if the Heavenly King breached the Longjiang base city. Chapter 497 Not Leaving. Staying in the Longjiang base city was tantamount to digging his own grave. The old man was not sure what Sua Ping was thinking. The otherworld Heavenly King was a king among beast kings. Not even legendary battle pet warriors were able to deal with this Heavenly King, let alone Sua Ping, who was merely a fate challenger. If that is your choice, I will also stay. I hope I can be of help, the old man said. Of course, he was staying to look after Zhong Lingtong once the city was breached. He would do anything to forcefully take Zhong Lingtong away, even if that meant he would displease Sua Ping. Given Zhong Lingtong's talent, she could become a master trainer with whichever teacher she learned from. She was the future hope for the Zhong family. He could not allow her to lose her life because of Sua Ping. Sua Ping didn't say a thing. His phone began to ring. It was from the mayor, Xiejin Shui. Sir, where are you? Sua Ping asked at once. I'm back. Xiejin Shui sounded unusually calm. Sua Ping was surprised. So fast? He left last night and came back today? How many legendary battle pet warriors are coming? Sua Ping asked. The reply was a few seconds of silence. Mr. Su, can you come over? I want to have a meeting. There are things that we must speak in person. Sua Ping suddenly noticed that something was off in Xiejin Shui's tone. His mind was disturbed. Sure. I'll go right now, Sua Ping said. He hung up the call and said to Venerable the Blade and the three from the Zhong family, I have to tend to something urgent. Make yourselves at home. Venerable the Blade looked at Sua Ping with a frown. Venerable the Blade had overheard that conversation since Sua Ping had not used a soundproof seal. Sure. Be careful. Mr. Su, don't worry about us, the old man from the Zhong family replied. Sua Ping nodded and left his store at once. He saw that Qin Dehuang and Lu Tianzong were coming out from their buildings across the street as well. They seemed to be taken aback after seeing Sua Ping. Mr. Su, Xie is back. Yes. He called me and told me to go there. Is that so? I'm on my way to his place as well. I asked how many legendary battle pet warriors were coming, but he didn't say. Qin Dehuang's eyebrows were knitted together. Lu Tianzong produced a forced smile. That guy. Is he trying to prepare a surprise for us? Sua Ping and Qin Dehuang didn't enjoy that joke. It wasn't funny, at all. They weren't in the mood to joke around, especially with something so grave. Xiejin Shui's reaction was strange. They couldn't help but think of the worst possibility. They wished it wasn't true. At the city hall. In a conference room. Apart from Sua Ping, Qin Dehuang, and Lu Tianzong who arrived together, Mu Bahai and Zhou Tianlin were also there. They were tending to some businesses in other places and hurried over after they had received Xiejin Shui's call. The same group gathered in the conference hall. Xie, what is going on? Say something. The family head of the Ye family, the short-tempered man, was clearly impatient by then. Xiejin Shui lowered his head. Qin Dehuang looked pale. Xie, what the heck is going on? Tell us. Are legendary battle pet warriors from the tower coming here or not? That was the question that everyone wanted to ask Xiejin Shui. Qin Dehuang had spoken their mind. They gazed at Xiejin Shui with worry. Xiejin Shui trembled upon hearing Qin Dehuang's question. Another moment of silence later, Xiejin Shui slowly raised his head, revealing an expression that no word could describe. Fatigue, disappointment, despair, pain, and guilt. Everyone's minds were weighed down after seeing that face. Slowly, Xiejin Shui said, "The tower said that, the deep caves are in a state of emergency and they cannot send anyone to help." His voice was hoarse. Qin Duhuang and the others turned ghastly pale. They could not. Not even one legendary battle pet warrior is coming. Zhou Tainlin shouted, angry and stunned. Aren't there dozens of legendary battle pet warriors in the tower? The tower usually sends legendary pet warriors to help when a base city is under attack by wild beasts. Why the hell not this time? Are they afraid of the otherworld heavenly king? Zhou Tianlin had uttered what everyone else was thinking. All of them wanted to ask the same question. Mu Bahai pulled a long face. "Xiat, what on earth happened? The base city pays a large amount of tax money to the tower every year, it is their obligation to help us. We need them now. How come not even one legendary battle pet warrior is coming?" Qin Duhuang was thinking the same thing. He stared at Xiejin Shui. "Xiat, you are fully aware of what kind of situation we are in. The Longjiang base city is basically doomed if none of the legendary battle pet warriors come. I'm willing to sacrifice my old life for Longjiang, but it's stupid to make sacrifices that can be avoided." Indeed, the family head of the Ye family added, "Why aren't they coming? Xiat, were you not respectful enough?" Lu Tianzong frowned. Xiejin Shui glared at Lu Tianzong and his lips trembled. "Respect? Would you believe that I asked while on my knees? I knelt in front of them, one by one. Not respectful enough? I don't know what else I could have done. I wasn't asking them. I was begging them piteously." Lu Tianzong was speechless and so were the others. Xiejin Shui got on his knees? He's not a legendary battle pet warrior but he is at the peak of the titled rank. He's a mayor. How could he kneel to anyone? Even when meeting legendary battle pet warriors, the maximum that etiquette required for a titled battle pet warrior to do was to bow. Kneeling. That was not how legendary battle pet warriors should be treated. Su Ping pulled a long face. He could picture in his mind what it was like when Xiejin Shui was on his knees, pleading. Why was it so? Is this about the deep caves? I heard that several legendary battle pet warriors died in the deep caves. Xiat, how many legendary battle pet warriors did you meet in the tower? Qin Duhuang questioned. Xiejin Shui said nothing. A moment later, he finally found his voice. I hurried to the tower overnight and told them all the details. They told me to wait so I did, and I waited, for 2 hours. They said that their leaders had summoned me so I went. I met the legendary battle pet warrior in charge of the tower. I told him everything. He said that the deep caves needed legendary battle pet warriors and that we should take care of the matter by ourselves or evacuate the city before the otherworld heavenly king arrived. I said that I couldn't possibly evacuate the entire city with our large population. We would also need protection during the evacuation. I asked for one legendary battle pet warrior to help with the evacuation but I was turned down. Then I went to seek legendary battle pet warriors that had once visited the Longjiang base city or those who had some connections with the base city. There were several of them and they turned me down. I searched the tower and I found more than a dozen legendary battle pet warriors, but none of them said yes. Xiejin Shui continued after a pause, I could tell. They were scared. They were scared of meeting the otherworld heavenly king if they came here to help. Qin Duhuang was dumbstruck. Su Ping was, too. But he was also filled with rage. I remember a legendary battle pet warrior called the North King. Did you meet him? Su Ping asked. Xiejin Shui was surprised to find that Su Ping knew a legendary battle pet warrior. He nodded. I met him and I requested his help, but he said he couldn't come here because he had other assignments. Su Ping said nothing. A ball of fire was burning inside of him. The other people came back to their senses. Zhou Tianlin bellowed, "You said you begged to more than a dozen legendary battle pet warriors? If they were all there, why would they be afraid of one heavenly king? The entire trip would have taken them less than one day. They wouldn't have to do much to scare away the wild beasts. Why the hell would they not come? Didn't they say that the deep caves needed more legendary battle pet warriors? Why did you find more than a dozen legendary battle pet warriors in the tower then?" Qin Duhuang was confused. He had heard from Qin Shuhei about the deep caves and the urgent situation, and the fact that even the Supremacy League had been used as a chance to lure out more legendary battle pet warriors. But Xiejin Shui had met more than a dozen legendary battle pet warriors. Xiejin Shui looked at Qin Duhuang and then at Zhou Tianlin, Mu Bahai, and everyone else who were full of wrath. He forced a smile. He had gone to the tower and seen the legendary battle pet warriors. He knew more answers. He had left many things unsaid because it was pointless to bring them up at this time. He was a grown man, a mayor. He had experienced many things and seen many things, good and bad. He was able to understand the underlying meaning of the refusals. But what would understanding do to him? It would merely make him feel even more pain. There is one thing they are right about. Xiejin Shui lowered his voice. I called you to discuss that matter. Since the legendary battle pet warriors of the tower are not coming, to protect the Longjiang base city by relying on ourselves will be practically impossible. So, I'm planning on evacuating the city. That was a shocking proposal. Xiejin Shui became calm and his tone was serious. Everyone had noticed that he had been struggling inside before they arrived. Evacuating. The family head of the Ye family's face was clouded. The underground trains connecting the Longjiang base city with the other base cities are closed. How do we evacuate? We have a population exceeding 20 million in the base city. Do you understand what that number means? Evacuating the city won't be easy, even with open transportation. Mu Bahai collected himself and thought quickly. I think we can call the surrounding base cities and ask them to open up the underground trains again. Also, we don't have to evacuate everyone. We can leave the old, invalid, vulnerable, and those who are terminally ill behind as bait and get the other people out. Su Ping could not believe what he had just heard. The others glared at Mu Bahai in disbelief. What a cruel proposal! To leave behind a group of people as bait to distract the wild beasts? Bait, as in becoming food. Those people would stay behind to be eaten by the wild beasts. Once full, the wild beasts would no longer be motivated to chase the others. Theoretically speaking, it was an option. But it was too barbaric. No one would want to be sacrificed that way. Who would stay behind to be food for the wild beasts? Zhou Tianlin and Qin Duhuang remained silent. Their family leader status allowed them to understand that, while heartless, they weren't left with many choices in that kind of situation. Wars were cruel and heartlessness was a natural result of waging war. When a tiger was chasing, you didn't need to outrun the tiger, you just needed to outrun your companion. That was survival. Survival itself was a cruel thing. They were the ones who would determine the life and death of the general public. Xiejin Shui was still silent. Mu Bahai sounded like a demon. Xiejin Shui's first reaction was to fly into a fit of rage, but that rage had soon disappeared into thin air. He could not scold Mu Bahai. He also understood that to evacuate the entire base city was impossible. Once they began to run, the wild beasts would run faster. More people would lose their lives if the people of the Longjiang base city fled in different directions. After all, beyond the walls was the wild. People would encounter beasts out there as they ran to other base cities. Only a handful of battle pet warriors could survive in the wild and protect themselves. The general public would most certainly be doomed. Silence prevailed in the conference room for a moment. Mu Bahai looked at the others' reactions. He knew that his proposal was cruel, but he didn't take it back. Such being the case, he was happy to leave. Anyway, the Mu family would be entitled to leave. The ones who were left behind would be the common men who were without any powers, money, or background. Xiejin Shui noticed that Suiping was thinking about something. "Mr. Su, what are your thoughts?" he asked, breaking the silence. The others turned to Suiping. Suiping was too young. Out of instinct, they had ignored Suiping when they were talking about such a grave matter. He was powerful, but that was his sole advantage. He might not be determined or visionary like the family leaders. Suiping looked at them. "I won't persuade you to stay if you want to go. But I won't leave." His answer stunned the others into stillness. They stared at him, showing what they wanted to say on their faces. "Do you have any idea what you're talking about? Staying? Is he planning on fighting against the otherworld Heavenly King?" They would have felt hopeful if some legendary battle pet warriors from the tower could have supported them. However, the tower would not send anyone to help them. They were all alone. Suiping was powerful, and there was a legendary battle pet warrior in his store. But what would that do? There were 5 beast kings. Suiping could kill all 5 beast kings, but what if the 5 beast kings attacked different fronts? Suiping was one man. Even with a legendary battle pet warrior backing him, they would only be able to protect 2 sides of the base city. Who would guard the other sides? The base city would be between the hammer and the anvil. Even if the side protected by Suiping was completely unaffected, what good would that do? The inside of the base city would still be gone. Only one place could be called home, and it could never be replaced. "Mr. Su, why?" Xiejin Shui found it hard to understand. Why would he stay when not even the legendary battle pet warriors from the tower had the courage to help them? Was it worth it? "Do I need a reason?" Suiping answered with a question. The others stared at him, baffled. "Do I need a reason? You do not need a reason?" They felt Suiping was losing his mind, but the young man was more serious and composed than ever before. He would rather face the fatal danger than leave? No one said anything for a moment. "Since Mr. Su is willing to stay, I'm more than happy to keep him company," Zhou Tianlin said all of a sudden. He took a deep breath and wore a determined look. He was the one who stunned the others this time. No one anticipated that Zhou Tianlin would be capable of such a heroic move. Was he saying this because of Suiping? However, it seemed necessary to cozy up to Suiping in this grave situation when the tower was unwilling to help. Zhou Tianlin was risking the entire Zhou family with this move. They saw something that was usually absent on the man's face. He wasn't buttering up to Suiping, and he wasn't cracking jokes. Qin Duhuang suddenly shook his head and laughed. The Qin family has been a resident of the Longjiang base city for more than 100 years. My grandpa stayed in Longjiang. My people are still buried in the tombs here. I am not leaving them here. The Qin family will stay. But I have to stay. That will send away some women and the young, just to keep a glint of hope for the future of the Qin family. That old man's words were admirable. Zhou Tianlin patted Qin Duhuang's shoulders with a laugh. "Old Qin, let's see which one of us can kill more wild beasts this time. I have been eager to compete against you, you sly old fox." Qin Duhuang didn't mind the patting. "Gladly. But you're not as good as me. I won't make it easy for you." "Ha, ha." Zhou Tianlin laughed out loud. "You," Mubahai stared at them. "Are you crazy? Mr. Su is under the protection of a legendary battle pet warrior, and he can leave whenever he wants to. Just the Beast Kings alone can take your lives, not to mention that the otherworld Heavenly King can come at any minute." Qin Duhuang smiled. "Maybe I am going crazy. Since Mr. Su has the courage to stay, we are more than happy to stay with him. Let's go nuts." "Well said," the family head of the Ye family suddenly interrupted. The worry on his face vanished. "I feel embarrassed since I usually pride myself of being a heroic man and that the Ye family is the best when it comes to battle. But it turns out that Tianlin is the man with guts in this critical time. Let me tell you the truth. I belittled you before this day. But now I'm willing to say that the Zhou family is more than qualified to be the Ye family's competition. Screw you. I never had the same feeling about the Ye family. I know that you rank my Zhou family as the fifth one, but my only competition is the Qin family as far as I am concerned. Zhou Tianlin retorted. Qin Duhuang laughed. Bunch of loons. Mu Bahai stared at the three of them who were chatting and smiling casually. He was fuming at the mouth. Do you even know what will happen if you stay? Your families will no longer exist in this world. Is it worth it? NSV We won't know the answer to that question until we try, Qin Duhuang answered. The Qin family is the most powerful family of the Longjiang base city. When people speak of the Longjiang base city, they think of the Qin family. Even if all of us leave in the end, the Qin family will be the last to go. Mu Bahai's anger was answered by Qin Duhuang's calmness. Mu Bahai looked into the latter's eyes, he clenched his fist and punched the air. I don't care what you're thinking. The Mu family will not go down with you, he said, gnashing his teeth. He thought of something and said to Su Ping, Mr. Su, this is not about you. I hope you can understand. Su Ping replied, you're overthinking. Whether you want to stay or leave has nothing to do with me. I won't judge you. I want to stay and that is purely my personal decision. I won't threaten or coerce you to do anything. You are all from big families and you have many family members to think of. If I were you, I would probably leave as well. So, no worries. Mu Bahai was relieved. He looked at the three but said nothing else. Qin Duhuang and Zhou Tianlin were not surprised to hear that Mu Bahai would be leaving. They weren't staying there because of Su Ping. It was true that his determination touched them, but they had made the choice on their own. They would stay even if Su Ping planned to leave. Sure, they might end up dying. They were trying to accomplish an impossible mission. But that was the Longjiang base city. If they had to go to another base city, they would not feel as alive as they did in their home ground. The other base cities could never replace their homes. That being said, they would not keep all of their family members there. They were just going to let some of their battle pet warriors stay. Otherwise, they would send their entire families to their doom. I am sorry, but I don't think the Lu family has any extra manpower to stay behind for another battle, Lu Tianzong said apologetically. People said nothing to that. Everyone was entirely free to make their choices. No one could stop anyone from leaving. Xiejin Shui had said nothing the entire time. He was still quiet even when everyone else had stopped talking. Xie, what's your plan? Qin Duhuang asked, frowning. Xiejin Shui looked at the family heads and then at Su Ping. I plan to evacuate, he said in a low voice. That was a surprise. Xiejin Shui was struggling. He lowered his head. I am sorry. As a mayor, I cannot let everyone stay in the city to face this dangerous battle. I hope that some people can leave, especially the women and the kids. They can live in other base cities and carry on with our legacy. As for me, I will stay till the end with you. The others were touched by his words. Qin Duhuang took a deep breath. Xie, you don't have to apologize for anything. You're doing the right thing. Indeed. We cannot lose the legacy of the Longjiang base city. Even after the Longjiang base city is gone, years later people will still remember that there was once a place called Longjiang. Hearing those words, Xiejin Shui was in more agony. I'm sorry. I'm not a good mayor. We wouldn't have to make this decision if I could have brought some legendary battle pet warriors from the tower. If I could have persuaded them, Xie, that is not your problem. That is the fate of our base city. Qin Duhuang patted his shoulders and heaved a sigh. Zhou Tianlin added, yes, relying on ourselves is better than relying on others. The legendary battle pet warriors are not coming. So what? I've never fought a beast king before. I sure can find out about that this time. The family head of the Ye family looked at Zhou Tianlin. What a surprise! Zhou Tianlin and he were alike in temper. The Ye family head thought even highly of Zhou Tianlin at the moment. What he did to the Zhou family in the past was wrong. He would have gone after the Lu and Mu families if he had known this earlier. Mu Bahai said to Xie Jinshui with a clouded face, "Xie, blaming yourself won't do us any good. Since the idea is to evacuate, we have to talk about the plan right now. It'll be too late when the beasts arrive." "Yes." Lu Tianzong nodded. Xie Jinshui took a deep breath and nodded. "Right. We must hurry. I've worked out a plan already. Now, hear me out." "Sure." Soon, Xie Jinshui told them the details about his plan. Mu Bahai and Lu Tianzong added some things. There were people of the Qin, Zhou, and Ye families that had to leave as well. Those without fighting abilities would not be able to help even if they stayed. They had to leave, that way they would save some hope for their families. They also had to move some of the family assets. Sui Ping was thinking about something else while they were discussing the evacuation plan. They went their separate ways after the meeting. The 5 family heads had their own assignments. Xie Jinshui didn't give Sui Ping any instructions, he had done more than enough by volunteering to stay. The evacuation had nothing to do with Sui Ping, Xie Jinshui couldn't ask more of him. At the store, Sui Ping pulled up the system's interface and checked his energy points. He used 3 million energy points in the pool and got 3 pets. After that, he sold the pets and earned more money. He currently had 7 million energy points in total. He could upgrade the store with 3 million more. But upgrading the store would not solve the problem at hand. I can have the Swamp War Crocodile guard one side, the Dark Dragon Hound another side, and I'll take care of a third side. The Qin and the Zhu families will guard the remaining side. However, it'll be difficult for them if Beast Kings head their way. There are 5 beasts in total. One side of the city is bound to encounter 2 Beast Kings. The other world Heavenly King will also be here. I'll have to be the one dealing with that. Such being the case, the others will have to fight the Beast Kings. Eventually, Sui Ping made up his mind and went into the room with the pool. He planned on spending all 7 million energy points. If he could get more Beast Kings, then the chance of succeeding would be bigger. The only trouble would be the other world Heavenly King. Once inside the room, all that Sui Ping could see was a vast starry sky that extended into infinity. He walked among the stars, with the well in front of him. Start? Sui Ping had made up his mind. He initiated the process without struggling. -1 million energy points. Soon, the pool began to glow. Roar! Not long after, with the interweaving of chaos and spiritual energy, complicated energy patterns began to materialize, and a roar came from inside. That roar was extremely loud and full of a murderous aura, which made Sui Ping's eyes glow. An adult beast. He saw a stalwart giant shadow slowly rising and floating over the pool. It was a strange monster with wings on its back and a body similar to that of a scorpion. It was a Beast King. Congratulations to the host for getting the Storm Scorpion, the system said. Sui Ping checked the properties of the Beast King. To his delight, the Beast King's combat strength was 16.5. Even more powerful than the Dark Dragon Hound. The Dark Dragon Hound's combat strength was merely 14. Sui Ping stored the beast and continued. Soon, the second pet appeared. The roar indicated that it was also an adult. But Sui Ping was less fortunate this time. This one was a pet at the peak of the 9th rank. Sui Ping repeated the process without hesitation. The third one, the fourth one. Soon, Sui Ping had spent all 7 million energy points. He obtained 7 pets. Out the 7, 2 were at the peak of the 9th rank and the other 5 were all Beast Kings. He was quite lucky this time, much more fortunate than the previous round. However, of all the Beast Kings, only one was at the void state and had reached adulthood. There was one in its infant stage with combat strength that could barely compare to the 6th rank. As for the other 3, their combat strengths were 12, 15, and 16 respectively. None of the three was as good as the swamp war crocodile. The most powerful of the 5 beast kings was the storm scorpion. I tried 7 times but I didn't get even one beast king at the fate state. Sua Ping was vexed. A beast king at the fate realm was still a beast king. He could get one according to the system's rules. He wouldn't be as wary of the overworld heavenly king if he had one. After all, that was a beast king as well, one at the fate state at best. But even if I managed to get one fate-ranked beast king, I wouldn't be able to use it. I haven't gotten another slave contract yet. A legendary battle pet warrior is required to control a beast king at the void state. A titled battle pet warrior could easily get hurt by such a beast king. Sua Ping frowned. He wouldn't have minded selling a beast at the void state to a legendary battle pet warrior if the tower had decided to send one. But, no legendary battle pet warrior would help them. The Longjiang base city had no support from any legendary battle pet warriors. That was to say, the Beast King at the Void State was the most powerful battle pet and yet he could not find it a master. How frustrating! Sua Ping heaved a sigh. He put up all the other battle pets for sale except for the Beast King at the Void State. He was about to call Qin Duhuang and the others when his phone rang. It was from Xiejin Shui. Sua Ping picked it up at once. Sir! Mr. Su, help! Xiejin Shui sounded very afraid and panicky. I have just been informed that the beasts are coming toward the base city. We haven't finished gathering the people that we want to evacuate. The beasts will already be here by the time we do. I have to select a group from them and only a few will be able to leave. Mr. Su, the war is about to begin. Sua Ping was surprised to learn that the beasts had quickly begun to move. His mind was weighed down by the thought that the general public was still gathering. I'll be ready. Sir, go ahead and finish your job. Evacuate as many as you can, Sua Ping said. Xiejin Shui replied at once, okay, be careful. Xiejin Shui had hung up before Sua Ping could answer. Sua Ping called Qin Duhuang right after. Unfortunately, the line was busy. Stunned, Sua Ping dashed out from his store, only to see that the buildings across the street were empty. He remembered the evacuation plan. The 5 family heads were surely helping Xiejin Shui with the evacuation and gathering up some kids and women of their respective families. Sir! Zhongling Tong could not help but feel nervous to see Sua Ping so flustered. That was the first time she had seen him like that. Sua Ping didn't explain himself. He told Tang Ruin to take care of Zhongling Tong. Then, he summoned the dark dragon hound and told it to take its dragon form. Sua Ping hopped onto its back and flew to the outer wall of the base city. Chapter 499 on sale. Many warriors stood on the outer wall. All kinds of shells and missiles had been set up on top of the outer wall. There were also 2 ultra-long-range voltage sniper guns which were able to directly kill ordinary 9th rank beasts once they were powered up. But charging them took 3 minutes each time. Those sniper guns were the ultimate weapons of the base city. Sua Ping saw warriors who were in government-issued uniforms, and he also found flags of the Zhou family. The brownish flags were fluttering in the air, the word Zhou embroidered on the flags was very visible. Sua Ping sensed that some familiar people were there, including Zhou Tianlin, and some of the other Zhou family elders. Whoosh! Sua Ping quickly flew to where they were. The warriors on the outer wall were startled by Sua Ping and the pet he was riding. The dragon had a very strange appearance, no one had ever seen the like. It had to be an unknown kind. Zhou Tianlin recognized Sua Ping and his pet at once. He didn't know why Sua Ping was there. But he didn't think much of it, since he was also aware of the upcoming strike. Xiejin Shui had also given him a call. Mr. Su. Mr. Zhou, are the other families on the other sides of the perimeter? Sua Ping went directly to the point. I don't know. Xie hasn't told us yet. The beasts are coming too suddenly. Our family is closer to this side so I just brought my people here, Zhou Tianlin said. He wore a grave but determined look as he spoke of the strike. The place would turn into a field littered with corpses once war broke out. But he was prepared. So Ping said to Zhou Tianlin, I tried to call you on my way here but the line was busy. Can you get in touch with Qin Duhuang and the others? I have a new batch of pets and I want to sell them to you. Pets? Zhou Tianlin's eyes glowed. He had failed to get either one of the pets at the peak of the 9th rank that Suiping had sold the last time. He should finally be able to get one since Suiping had sought him out directly. I will try. Mr. Su, we have other titled battle pet warriors in the family who have empty spots as well. How many are you planning to sell? We can buy them all, name the price. Zhou Tianlin said at once. Suiping shook his head, I'm selling these pets so you can protect the base city. The Zhou family only needs one because you only have to stay on this side. Zhou Tianlin was a bit disappointed but he understood. This was not a usual day. He believed Suiping would be practically giving away the pets to them so that they could better guard the city. Okay. I'll try to contact them, Zhou Tianlin said. Suiping nodded. Zhou Tianlin took out his phone. He was about to dial the number when someone called him. It's from Xiejin Shui, he said and pressed the answer button. Xiao Zhou, come over to the city hall. I have assigned the evacuation to my people. Come on over, I also called Qin and the others. We need to discuss our defense plan. Xiejin Shui sounded like he was in a hurry. Zhou Tianlin answered, I understand. I'm on my way. He asked Suiping after hanging up, Mr. Su, Xie is calling us for a meeting to talk about defense. Are you coming with me? Yup. Suiping nodded. Hop on. Zhou Tianlin looked at the dragon that Suiping was standing on. The pet had not been recorded in any illustrated books, it had impressed him deeply. Suiping had summoned this pet in the previous battle, it had dashed around madly. Although it wasn't a beast king, it wasn't any weaker than one. Okay. Zhou Tianlin jumped onto the back of the pet. The dark dragon hound groaned. Regardless of the dog's unhappiness, Suiping told it to leave at once. Half an hour later they arrived at the city hall. Qin Duhuang and Mu Bahai had already arrived. Everyone sitting in the conference room was wearing grave expressions, especially Mu Bahai and Lu Tianzong. They were going to evacuate. However, the beasts were almost upon them. As such, they could only send away a small fraction of their families, mainly womenfolk and the elite young people. As for the rest of the family, they would have to stay behind. You're here. Xiejin Shui nodded to Suiping and Zhou Tianlin. He had also called Suiping while they were on their way. We're all here. Xie, what is your plan? Qin Duhuang cut to the chase. Xiejin Shui pushed a button on the table. A hologram map appeared on the table. It was a map of the whole base city. The outer wall was a square surrounding the city. Close to the outer wall were planting regions and factories where the population was small. The closer it was to the heart of the city, the more crowded the buildings were. There are radars around the four sides of the base city, as well as ground motion sensors. We will know if wild beasts are moving underground. There's also the lava layer and the electricity layer underground. The wild beasts will have to go past those two levels of defense when they come from underground. They would be forced back by this. Xiejin Shui continued right away, therefore, we just have to guard the ground level and against any air raids. All the base cities had layers of lava and electricity below ground level. Some Class A base cities had extra layers of defense. Those defensive layers had all been prepared by special pets, just to guard against any wild beasts that could sneak into the base cities from below. The usual attacks from wild beasts came from the ground and the air. From the data we collected, the majority of the wild beasts are quite formidable, with a few flying pets mixed in. The armies can handle the flying pets with air-to-air missiles and calibrated sniper guns. As for the flying pets that can escape those strikes, I will trust your families to take care of them. No problem. Qin Duhuang nodded. The four sides of our base city. Xiejin Shui wore a more serious look as he struck the map. According to the information we received, the east side is going to receive the main brunt of the strike. There are a lot of Class A barren areas in that direction. Qin and I will guard that side. What do you say? Qin Duhuang was a bit nervous, but he answered nonetheless, no problem. The others looked at him with worry. The east side was the most difficult of all. He would have to face tremendous pressure, even though he was supported by Xiejin Shui and other titled battle pet warriors. The north side is going to see many wild beasts as well. We've found beast kings there. Who will go there? Xiejin Shui looked at the family heads, not at Suiping. Suiping realized that Xiejin Shui seemed to have excluded him in this. He was confused. No one answered for a moment, until the head of the Ye family shouted, "The Ye family can." He had also cast a glance at Mu Bahai. Mu Bahai noticed this. He didn't say anything, although he was unhappy about it. Okay. Xiejin Shui nodded. I will trust the north side to the Ye family. Later, I will gather all the people who have come to help us. I will pick out some of the stronger ones and ask them to support the Ye family. Okay. He nodded. The west side is the closest to the Zhou family. How about you go there? No problem, Zhou Tianlin answered. He didn't propose taking the task of guarding the north because he was afraid. It was because the Zhou family warriors were already stationed at the west side and he didn't want to waste time and energy relocating them. The war was on the verge of breaking out. It would be silly to waste time and run around in the base city. We have detected the smallest group of wild beasts on the south side, but we cannot underestimate the enemy. Can we have the Mu family and the Lu family station there? Xiejin Shui asked Mu Bahai and Lu Tianzong. Both wanted to evacuate, they ended up staying because they had no other choice. They would probably accept the mission of protecting the easiest side. Sure. Mu Bahai nodded. Lu Tianzong did, too. Okay. That is it. You can go ahead and get ready, Xiejin Shui said. Suiping could wait no longer. Sir, what about me? The others turned to Suiping. Xiejin Shui gazed at Suiping. Mr. Su, you can support whichever side you want, but I hope that you don't act for now. I hope you can stay in the base city. You are the most powerful warrior we have in the Longjiang base city. We would have to rely on you if the otherworld Heavenly King arrives. I understand that it's too much to ask of you. So, you can retreat at any time if you feel that you cannot handle it. You have my permission to leave the battleground at any time and you won't be regarded as a deserter. Suiping was surprised. Xiejin Shui didn't say anything to him because he was going to treat Suiping as the ace card. He would go wherever the otherworld Heavenly King appeared. He could leave the battleground at any time. No one said anything. They could not accuse Suiping of anything even if he were to retreat without fighting. Suiping was already courageous and generous enough to be willing to stay, knowing that the Heavenly King was coming. I understand. Suiping nodded. That was a reasonable arrangement. The base city would fall in an instant if he were on one side of the base city and the Heavenly King showed up on another. He wouldn't have enough time to hurry over to another side of the city. Sir, I have a plan. I wonder if you could lure the otherworld Heavenly King to a certain place. I know a place where the Heavenly King will most certainly be killed if it goes there. Suiping suddenly asked. The system could eliminate the otherworld Heavenly King if it could be lured to the store's territory. Suiping was fully confident in the system's might. The system could finish even gods and demons, let alone a puny otherworld Heavenly King. A certain location. Xiejin Shui and the other family heads stared at Suiping in confusion. It sounded that Suiping was indulging in flights of fancy. Even the otherworld Heavenly King would most certainly die? What kind of location was that? Are you sure? Xiejin Shui had to ask. Suiping nodded. Trust me. All beast kings, whichever kind they are, can be killed there. Even creatures more powerful than beast kings. No one could believe that. It never occurred to anyone that Suiping had such powers. What else did they not know about this young man? Xiejin Shui's spirit was lifted, but soon the glow in his eyes died down. Let's say you're being serious. We would still be unable to lure out the otherworld Heavenly King. No device can detect its whereabouts. Otherwise, the tower would have hunted the 4 beast kings down. Suiping frowned. They would have to wait for the Heavenly King to show up. That would put them at a disadvantage. That is to say, I'll have to wait for it to show up and lure it into the base city as I battle it. I wonder if that will work, Suiping thought. He had no idea. After all, the 4 beast kings had to be scheming beings, in addition to their strength. Otherwise, the tower would have already finished them. Such a pity. Qin Duhuang heaved a sigh. Such a location did exist, but to lure out that beast was too hard. They had no idea where it was or when it would arrive. Since it wasn't an average beast, it wouldn't fall easily to traps or other deceptions. If the otherworld Heavenly King were gullible, the tower would have already set up a trap. That'll be all for now. Time is pressing and the conditions will change quickly. I will call you then. Let us set up a group chat and I'll send you all a message when necessary. It'll be easier for us to talk, Xiejin Shui added. They nodded. They took out their phones and joined the group. Suiping stopped them as they were about to leave. Mr. Qin, Mr. Zhou and Mr. Yat, please come with me. I have some pets to sell to you. Mr. Mu and Mr. Lu, you can come as well. Suiping was going to sell 2 pets at the peak of the 9th rank to the Mu and Lu families in case they ran into trouble while protecting the south side. After all, there were 5 beast kings. Should one beast king arrive at the south side, the Mu and Lu families could fail. Pets. Apart from Zhou Tianlin, the others were all pleasantly surprised. Xiejin Shui remembered the pets at the peak of the 9th rank he had seen the last time. Mr. Su, can I buy one? He asked, curiously. You, next time. Suiping felt a bit awkward. He could only sell 5 pets this time. After all, the Beast King at the Void State would be too much for any one of them to master. The other Beast King was an infant that could offer no help for the time being. The ones that could be sold were the 3 Beast Kings and the 2 9th rank pets. He didn't plan on selling one to Xiejin Shui because the latter was the mayor. He would be the commanding officer and would not get into the battlefield that much. Xiejin Shui produced a forced smile. He was eager to get a pet at the peak of the 9th rank, but he understood that not even such pets would change the current outlook for the base city. The priority was to save the Longjiang base city at the moment. Suiping didn't say anything more to Xiejin Shui. He told himself that he would sell a good Beast King to Xiejin Shui the next time he got one. Suiping thought very highly of him. He was a responsible mayor. Say thank you, Mr. Su. Mu Bahai was surprised to find that Suiping would be willing to sell him one. After all, he had been planning on evacuating all of his family. Suiping nodded. Let's not waste any more time. Come to the store with me. Okay. Qin Duhuang nodded. Xiejin Shui stood up. Go ahead. I'll talk to those who have come to help us. I need to let them know about our plan. Okay. The few nodded. The meeting came to an end. Apart from Xiejin Shui, all the others went back to Suiping's store. Once they got there, he told Qin Duhuang, Zhou Tianlin and the Ye family head to stand at the front and had Mu Bahai and Lu Tianzong stand behind them. That was a strange request, but no one asked anything. They all knew about Suiping's rules. But he seemed to suffer from some sort of OCD. There were merely 5 of them. Why would they have to stand in that order? Also, it appeared that Qin Duhuang would be the first one to pick. He could just sell whichever pet he liked to Qin Duhuang. Why bother with the queuing? Of course, all of them kept those complaints to themselves and decided that the reason for Suiping's actions had to do with OCD. Mu Bahai and Lu Tianzong understood that they had to pick last. Indeed, their decisions had displeased Suoping. Come on out. After they stood in position, Suoping summoned the pets he was going to sell. Roar! Roar! They roared one after another as those mountain-like figures landed on the ground. The pets filled up the street and even crushed the buildings right across it. But no one cared about the buildings they had just bought. They could sense the energy of Beast Kings. Shocking! They stared at the pets, clearly struck dumb. Beast Kings! Were all of them Beast Kings? They stood with mouths open but no sound came out from their mouths. 3 Beast Kings! If it weren't for the fact that it was Suoping who had summoned those Beast Kings, they would have thought they were part of the beast invasion. Mr. Su, Qin Duhuang came back to his senses. He gulped as he looked at the huge scorpion that was dozens of meters tall. Finally, he found his voice, "Are these the pets you are going to sell to us?" The others stared at Suoping in a daze. Beast Kings, on sale. Was Suoping nuts? How wayward! Indeed. Pick one you like and build the contract now. Use them well in battle, Suoping said, solemnly. Beast Kings were invaluable. They would have to pay a heavy price if they were to ask a legendary battle pet warrior from the tower to help them catch one, possibly at the cost of all their family assets. No more than 200 million, Suoping answered. He was aware of how valuable Beast Kings were, while also having adapted to the friendly prices that the system would set. He would have felt sorry for the pitiful prices but not this day. Selling the Beast Kings so that the family heads could better protect the city was the most important thing. Also, those low prices were old news to him. He was getting back what he had spent, since each incubation needed merely 1 million energy points, i.e., 100 million astral coins. He could make some money with those Beast Kings, but he would lose money on the other 2 beasts at the peak of the 9th rank. All in all, the income and the losses would offset each other. The family heads looked at each other in speechless astonishment. Suoping was not selling, he was actually giving away the Beast Kings. Mr. Su, Qin Duhuang wanted to thank him but he stopped on second thought. Oral expression of gratitude was no longer enough. He gazed at the young man, emotionally touched. Mr. Su, if there is anything you need from the Qin family in the future, just say so. I, Qin Duhuang, will follow your instructions. The other family heads were surprised with the way Qin Duhuang had phrased his reply. Qin Duhuang was a senior titled battle pet warrior that had earned his reputation in the subcontinent district. He was known as the Raging Spirit. He had once been an outstanding titled battle pet warrior, just as intimidating as Venerable the Blade. Why would he speak to Suoping with such respect? Was it just because of gratitude? Mu Bahai had known Qin Duhuang for the longest time. He could tell that something more meaningful was conveyed in that reply. That old man was too proud to act humble just because of a Beast King. Mr. Qin, you flatter me, Suoping said. Qin Duhuang made no further comment. Whether Suoping accepted his offer was another matter, he would stick to his promise either way. He looked at the Beast Kings and eventually decided to get the huge scorpion that was right in front of him. Mr. Su, can I have this one? No problem. Thanks. Qin Duhuang nodded. The storm scorpion's price was 163 million astral coins, which was a reasonable price considering its combat strength. Suoping told Qin Duhuang to establish the contract with his new pet after he paid. The other family heads were a bit jealous to see Qin Duhuang stepping closer to the Beast King in order to start the contract process. That was a Beast King, for crying out loud. Titled battle pet warriors with Beast Kings and those without them were entirely different. The Ye family head and Zhou Tianlin who had been standing behind Qin Duhuang were quite thrilled. They were both at the peak of the titled rank, but just barely. They weren't powerful when compared with all the titled battle pet warriors. There were many who could intimidate them once they were outside the Longjiang base city. However, they could even be compared to people like Venerable the Blade after getting a Beast King. They could even be better. Lu Tianzong and Mu Bahai were trying their hardest not to let their jealousy show. They were being consumed with envy, they were regretting having ever chosen to evacuate. If they hadn't, just maybe, Suo Ping would have still let them choose based on the first come, first served rule. They could have had a chance to get a Beast King. But they had been deprived of that chance because of their decision. They were so sorry that their hearts were trembling. Qin Duhuang finished the contract process soon after, it went quite smoothly. He was at the peak of the titled rank, mastering a Beast King at the Ocean State was not a difficult job for him. On the other hand, a Beast King at the Void State would have crushed his spirit. Back to me. The huge storm scorpion was sucked into a swirl, then Qin Duhuang gave another command and the Beast King pet came out again. Unable to hold back his excitement, Qin Duhuang flew to the storm scorpion's head, he stood at a height against the wind. While in a daze, he seemed to have recovered the passion and drive of his youth. He was standing on a Beast King. He had been longing for this for a long time. He had thought he would only be able to realize his dream when he became a legendary battle pet warrior. What a sudden surprise! Whoosh! Qin Duhuang jumped off from the head of the storm scorpion, high-spirited and vigorous. He cupped his fists and said, "Mr. Su, thank you." Suo Ping nodded. "Does it act tame toward you?" "It has a little bit of a temper but I can deal with that," Qin Duhuang replied. He was able to feel how violent the storm scorpion was, thanks to the bond established by the contract. But that violence was not directed at him. They would be on friendly terms thanks to the contract, as long as he wouldn't abuse the pet. Their relationship would only get better as they spent more time together. Mu Bahai and Lu Tianzong were even more envious. Both clenched their fists so hard that their fingers almost broke. Regret. Zhou Tianlin could barely wait any longer. "Mr. Su, can I pick now?" he asked. "Sure." Suo Ping nodded. Overjoyed, Zhou Tianlin made a decision right away. He picked the flame lion that was from an ancient era, a beast king with a mixed bloodline of demons and the fire family. This pet could use skills of both kinds, but mostly those related to fire. The price was 143 million astral coins, equal to 1.43 million energy points. Suo Ping nodded to him after Zhou Tianlin paid. He rushed to the flame lion at once to sign the contract. Lu Tianlin and Mu Bahai couldn't even fake serenity after Zhou Tianlin had picked out his Beast King. The last Beast King would belong to the Ye family head. He felt a bit disappointed because he also liked the storm scorpion that Qin Duhuang had picked, that Beast King was obviously the most powerful of all. But since Qin Duhuang had already picked it, the Ye family head had to settle for the last Beast King. After he cast a glance at Lu Tianzong and Mu Bahai, even that little trace of unhappiness was replaced by a feeling of superiority. Mu Bahai and Lu Tianzong said nothing. They would have been in a much better mood if they could have bought battle pets at the peak of the 9th rank before that day. However, they weren't the least glad at the moment, comparison was odious. But they didn't reveal their anger and thanked Suo Ping as everyone else did. Suo Ping didn't care what Lu Tianzong and Mu Bahai were thinking. He only had so many Beast Kings and someone was bound to be left out. He couldn't have given everyone a Beast King. "I will trust you with the protection of our base city. Time to go." All the battle pets had been sold by then. The family heads thanked Suo Ping again and left at once. The priority was still dealing with the upcoming beast strike. Nothing else would matter if they couldn't make it through. Suo Ping went back to the store and checked the number of energy points after they left. He had nearly 5 million energy points at the moment. Those 3 Beast Kings combined had gotten him nearly 4 million energy points, while the 2 battle pets at the peak of the 9th rank had earned him over 900,000 energy points. Suo Ping remembered something. He could use the 4 million energy points and try the pool again. If he could get another Beast King, he could sell it and use the energy points earned to incubate again. Theoretically speaking, if luck was on his side, he would be able to repeat that process and he could always have beast kings. Of course, that was when he was lucky enough. Anyway, he had already used 7 million energy points. What was 4 million more? He tried again. Su Ping went to the room. He began the process without thinking twice. The first pet came out, it was one at the peak of the 9th rank. He tried again. The second was born. It was an infant, a beast king that could grow up to the void state. That beast king could at least be sold for 2 to 3 million energy points when it grew up. Unfortunately, he couldn't sell it at the moment. He had to put it away for the time being. He tried again. The third one was a beast king. It was a would-be pet with a combat strength of 11.2. That beast king was from the Archean age. That being said, the beast king was not all that powerful. It could deal with some 9th rank beasts but it wouldn't be as good as other beast kings. It was a green blade bug, merely 4 to 5 meters tall, like a giant dragonfly. This is the first time I've ever seen a beast king so small. This dude must have been one of the weakest bugs in that ancient time, Su Ping said to himself. Coming up next was his fourth try. To his disappointment, the fourth one was an infant with a bloodline of the 9th rank. I am so unlucky this time. The green blade bug is the only one that can be of any use, Su Ping exclaimed inwardly. The other pets weren't bad, per se rather, the infants had a higher value, they could be made stronger with training. However, that was not the proper time to educate the infants. I have to sell the green blade bug to someone. Su Ping thought of the mayor. However, the mayor wouldn't throw himself into the midst of battle. Then Su Ping remembered Venerable the Blade. He called him at once. Fate Challenger, Venerable the Blade said. Su Ping found that name uncomfortable. He replied, you can just call me Mr. Soul like before. I have a pet for sale. Do you want it? Pet? Venerable the Blade asked, what kind of pet? I think all my spots are taken. If I want it, I would have to cancel the contract with one first. Never mind. Su Ping had to give up on Venerable the Blade. When cancelling a contract, the person would go through a period of vulnerability, only being able to summon enough strength for verbal arguments and nothing else. The time was too critical to put Venerable the Blade through that period. Hey! Venerable the Blade was surprised by such a decisive refusal. He didn't even know what kind of pet it was. He could cancel one contract if the pet was rare enough. Su Ping hung up without explaining. He remembered he had another choice, Wu Guansheng. The one at the peak of the titled rank who had been forced by him to teach Su Lingyu about healing skills. He was Su Lingyu's teacher. He had previously called Wu Guansheng and asked him for help in dealing with the beast strike. Wu Guansheng had indeed shown up. Wu Guansheng had gone to his home for meals many times, so Su Ping thought of him favorably. He immediately dialed his number. Old Wu. Fate Challenger. While confused with the meaning of that call, Wu Guansheng still answered with respect. He had heard about Su Ping's deed at the Supremacy League. While he had not been there in person, he was well informed enough to find out. Do you have any empty spots to have more pets? Yes, I have 2 vacancies, Wu Guansheng answered. He was very strict with his choice of pets. Therefore, he had merely made contracts with 7 pets. He wasn't a fan of fights, either, he didn't have a need to build up his combat strength. After all, his focus was on healing skills. Su Ping was happy to hear that. Good. I have a Beast King. Do you want it? Beast King. Wu Guansheng could not believe it. Did you just say, Beast King? Yes, a Beast King. But a weak one, Su Ping added. Wu Guansheng gulped. Weak? Were any Beast Kings weak? All Beast Kings were intimidating creatures. Yes, yes. Wu Guansheng shouted. He was picky but never when it came to Beast Kings. He didn't care if the Beast King was weak or not. As long as it was at that rank, it would help him deal with those wild beasts at the 9th rank. Good. Come to my store, Sui Ping said. Right away. A few minutes later, the barrel-bellied Wu Guansheng arrived at Sui Ping's store. He began to look around as soon as he went inside and asked Sui Ping, Fate Challenger, do you really have beast kings for sale? Wu Guansheng wondered if Sui Ping was playing with him as he made his way over. But he didn't suppose Sui Ping would be in such a mood at such a critical time. Sui Ping summoned the green blade bug without explaining. The green blade bug was small enough to show up inside the store. One would hardly think that a battle pet that small was a beast king. That, Wu Guansheng was startled upon seeing the green blade bug. That primitive and cruel feeling from that ominous bug assaulted his senses. He could hardly describe his feelings, but he was mainly shivering with fear. A beast king. This is a beast king. While the beast king was smaller than usual, he was sure of it. Do you, honestly mean to sell me this beast king? Wu Guansheng asked again. Sui Ping nodded. Give me 100 million, sign the contract and take it away. Wu Guansheng was dumbstruck. Just 100 million? Sui Ping made it sound as if he were just selling something he could randomly grab somewhere. But this was a beast king. Are you sure? Wu Guansheng sought confirmation so many times that Sui Ping began to lose patience. Finally, Wu Guansheng paid him and quickly signed the contract while Sui Ping witnessed the deed. Until then, Wu Guansheng was absolutely certain that he had gotten a beast king. And he had merely spent 100 million. Wu Guansheng had gained a general idea of what the battle pet was like with the help of the contract. He would have to run some tests to find out more. Remember that protecting your own life is the most important thing, Sui Ping said to Wu Guansheng. Sui Ping had asked Wu Guansheng for help, but he would hate to see anyone who answered his call to end up dying during the battle. If they couldn't defeat the enemy, Sui Ping hoped they would save their own lives first. Wu Guansheng was quite moved by this. He answered solemnly, Fate Challenger, do not worry. I will do my best now that I am here. I don't care if this is the Longjiang base city or any other place. I will help out whenever I can. He had been willing to go there, not entirely because of Sui Ping, but also because he didn't want to see so many people needlessly be killed by the wild beasts. Those were all living people. All humans. Who would they count on if fellow humans didn't help each other? Wu Guansheng had also contacted his friends on his way over to the Longjiang base city. However, some of them were freaked out the moment they heard Otherworld Heavenly King. They turned him down and cautioned him not to get involved. He didn't blame them, he could understand why they didn't want to go there. After all, who wasn't afraid of death? Fate Challenger, I'll be seeing you around, Wu Guansheng bid farewell. Sui Ping nodded. Sui Ping stood by the door after Wu Guansheng left. When he looked up, he could faintly see dark clouds approaching in the horizon. He was worried. This time, even he was afraid. Not even he would be able to defeat the Otherworld Heavenly King if it was indeed at the Fate State. That might very well be the end of the Longjiang base city. If the city is breached, the wild beasts will get here sooner or later. The store will be the last line of defense. It's too bad that not too many people can fit in the store. But if the Otherworld Heavenly King gets here, this is where it's going to be buried. Sui Ping said to himself. He was thinking of the worst scenarios and he didn't want them to happen. The Heavenly King would be killed there after destroying and stomping on everything, the base city would have been lost by then. The city could be rebuilt, but how many would have to die? In the meantime, Xiejin Shui had located the warriors that had arrived to support the Longjiang base city. Explorers appeared in groups or as individual titled battle pet warriors. Some families who had built up relationships with the Longjiang base city dwellers due to business reasons, had also sent over reinforcements. Xiejin Shui could barely express how grateful he was with words. With proper cooperation, those extra supporters could match the strength of 1.5 main families from the Longjiang base city. There were over a dozen titled battle pet warriors present. Apart from Venerable the Blade and Wu Guansheng who had been invited by Suiping, 2 other battle pet warriors at the peak of the titled rank had shown up voluntarily. They were all famous battle pet warriors. There were thousands of advanced battle pet warriors who had also arrived to offer support. Those who had made the trip to support the base city, while knowing about the appearance of Beast Kings, were all heroic men and women. They were seemingly weak when compared to the wild beasts, but no one shied away from the risk. Xiejin Shui was full of complex feelings. He had distributed those people to defend the 4 sides, all in order to help out the local warriors and families to stop the wild beasts. While the warriors got into position, Xiejin Shui was also managing the ongoing emergency evacuation. 2 hours passed. The entire Longjiang base city was running quickly. Everyone was hurrying to their positions or making plans. Few people could be spotted on the streets, most of the general public had left their offices. The office buildings that were usually densely populated were full of empty chairs and empty tables. Most of the common people were in shelters at the moment, hiding. Some people couldn't get anywhere, they stayed at home and prayed. Most of them were afraid, panicking. In the meantime, the ground was shaking hundreds of miles away from the Longjiang base city. Some titled battle pet warriors who had been collecting information outside were keeping a safe distance with the wild beasts while they were sending the updated information back to the base city. At such a rate, in less than 2 hours, the wild beasts would arrive. At Suiping's store, some government agents were setting up devices in his store. Those devices would aid him to learn the current about the situation around the city in real time. He could go and help whichever side needed help. If the Heavenly King was there, he would be able to receive the information at once. He waited in his store. He wasn't at the front line and he wasn't standing on the outer walls, but he was more worried than anyone. He realized that while he had battled so many times and died more in the cultivation sites, he had never been that nervous before. If he died, he would not return to life this time. There would also be countless people dying. Sir. Zhongling Tong wished to speak but stopped on second thought. Too many things had been going on that day. She had been dumbstruck when she saw Suiping selling the Beast Kings. She also became concerned since Suiping was wearing a worried frown. Tang Ruyan was seated on the sofa, silent. She was more mature than Zhongling Tong and knew more about the event than Zhongling Tong did. The otherworld Heavenly King's name had filled her with despair. She could not fathom what Suiping was thinking about right then. Her mind told her that Suiping had been silly after deciding to stay, but she didn't say anything to him. The Longjiang base city was Suiping's home. One didn't need to find a reason not to leave home. The silence in the store was broken by some noises. Suiping looked up. Familiar faces leaped into his sight. You. Suiping was surprised. He saw Su Yanying, Ye Hao, and other familiar students. They were the earliest customers of the Pixie Pet Store. Mr. Su, Su Yanying said. She took a look around. She noticed that there was a new attendant in the store. It had been some time since her last visit. She smiled. Mr. Su, long time no see. Suiping asked, why are you here? We're going to the battlefront. We happened to walk past your store, so we thought we should come in and say hello, Ye Hao answered. Suiping was shocked by this. Battlefront? You. They were not longer students anymore, they had just graduated. Mr. Su, do you have no confidence in us? Su Yanying chuckled. We also belong to the Longjiang base city. It is our obligation to step up when our base city is in trouble. Mr. Su, don't underestimate us. Of course, you can if you want to, but not the pets you trained for us. She sounded so casual. Suiping didn't know what to say. He was confident about the pets he had trained, of course. Those were fresh graduates and some of them were still in school. But all their pets could be compared to advanced pets, especially Ye Hao and Su Yanying's pets. Su Yanying's lightning rat could be compared to an 8th rank beast. But the lightning rat was merely at the 3rd rank. However, that was not a random fight. It was war. A war between humans and wild beasts. A war where beast kings were going to make an appearance. Not even titled battle pet warriors could claim that they would survive. Why would those young people volunteer? We heard that Mr. Su is staying. We weren't wrong about you, Ye Hao said. He knew that, unlike them who had no choice in the matter, Su Ping could leave if he wanted to. All titled battle pet warriors could easily leave the Longjiang base city. Staying was the difficult choice. Mr. Su, thank you for all you have done for us, Su Yanying bowed. Time is running out. I heard that the wild beasts will soon arrive. We need to leave. Ye Hao waved goodbye to Su Ping. He suddenly noticed Zhong Lingtong, who was sitting on the sofa. Mr. Su, such a pretty girl. Is she your new helper? Tang Ruin pulled a long face while she sat next to Zhong Lingtong. Zhong Lingtong blinked in confusion. Su Ping cautioned them, if you must go, remember not to act the hero. Your lives are the most important thing. Do you understand? They nodded and left. Su Ping wanted to tell them something more, but eventually left those words unsaid. On the east side of the Longjiang base city's outer wall, the black flag of the Qin family was flying on the outer wall, whistling in the wind. The majestic word Qin was printed on the flag. Many Qin family members were gathered on the outer wall, some of them were titled battle pet warriors and some young advanced battle pet warriors. They were there with battle pet warriors from the government and the outside support that Xiejin Shui had sent over. Father, they are coming. The current man in charge of the Qin family was Qin Feiyu, Qin Duhuang's second son. He was the man managing the daily business of the Qin family, the actual family head. Qin Duhuang would only step forward when it came to critical matters.